No, they think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Oh man, what's going on with y'all out there? I would say long time no see, but I've been seeing y'all out there, man. I've been watching and waiting and plotting, you know what I'm saying, scheming. It's like, I'm just playing, man. But I've been staying abreast of boxing, man. Sometimes you gotta relax, man. Sometimes you gotta peep the scene, you know. And I'm trying to grow as a content creator, as a person. Initially, I'm really trying to grow. I've really been chiseling away at myself, man, pushing myself to the limits, breaking some barriers, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, man, you gotta get your Rocky on. You gotta go into the mountain, you know what I'm saying? You gotta put on the crazy fur coat, you know, let the beard grow out, let the stash get crazy. You know, you gotta get by yourself, man. You gotta go in that dark room and you gotta develop. So as the picture get clear, you can come out and everything will be crystal. And I've been trying to tell you all. And like I said, I'm trying to grow as a person, so I don't want to be one of them, I told you so. So I have a new thing where I can say, I showed you so. Because I told y'all that it is a curve in the sport of boxing, especially when it comes down to things as they unravel. And since so many people, they either love to play politics, they either busy being drama kings and queens, you know, they either have pure disdain and hate for some of these guys. Like, everybody has their own agenda. And in real time, here at Bodywork, we try to speak to things as they are. You know, we're not gonna sugarcoat. We're not gonna just glaze over it. We don't do sausage parties over here. We try to look at everything right and exact. We speak on it like real OGs. You know, like how you would want it, how we used to have it, where old head to pull your coattail and say, "Nah, young blood, this ain't how we'll do it. Nah, young blood, you need to do it like this." But everybody else, they got their own agenda, right? And we're not trying to be like everybody else, and we're not trying to, we're not really even trying to change everybody else. The fact that everybody else is the way that they are makes this channel here the way that it is. And it ages like fine wine, man. And you know, the common denominator over here that makes this channel poke out from the rest is time. We speak this stuff in real time. Some time goes by and then everybody jumps on it like as if they was on this. People embarrassing themselves. Fans, only fans, exposing themselves all the time. We don't do that. We have our favorites. Yes, we do, just like anybody. Just like in football, people have their favorite football players. In baseball, they have their favorite baseball players. It's only in the sport of boxing where you can't have your favorite boxers and you're just a fan of the sport. Right. Sometimes I have to sit back. I have to wait. I have to watch. I have to listen. I have to observe. Why? Because why always be the salmon swimming upstream? You know, it's obvious that everybody has an appetite for what they have an appetite for. If you want to get into the juicy gossip and salaciousness and stuff, it's places for that. If you want to get into the politics and all that, it's places for that. If you want to get into the throat coat spraying, the tonsil jewelry displaying, the knee pad wearing, goalpost moving, it's places for that. If you want to go where the carbon copy is celebrated, because there's a lot of people that copy, you know what I'm saying, and I'm over that. Like I always say, man, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I'm taking all of my compliments. I see you, but I'm trying to grow, so I ain't gonna say nothing. Just keep copying. You know, that means I'm doing something right. Keep trying to 50 Cent and Ja Rule me, you know what I'm saying. That means that I was always on to something right. The channel was always on to something right, and nothing's gonna change. I might see, there's the thing called frequency and intensity. Frequency is how often you do it. Intensity, the intensity is always going to be high here. So maybe sometimes I have to lower the frequency, maybe not come on so much, but the intensity is going to stay intense. And in time, as I put these stakes in the ground, you're going to see that this is probably the realest channel out here on YouTube, man. You know, I mean, like what, a week before last, we had Rob Wilson had hit us up and was just like, you know, you had your 750th upload, which is for somebody like, look, we call ourselves the 300. If you seen the movie, this channel is the 300. All it takes is a few good men and women. You know what I'm saying? This channel ain't for everybody. So to actually have that many uploads and to always place quality over quantity, that's a monumental feat, especially when you're impacting the game. Vocabulary, you know, the echo chambers, that word is going crazy. Hindsight is 2020. People biting the thumbnail, that's going crazy. The whole curriculum is going crazy. People are running wild with it. The 80-20 rule, people are starting to catch on to that too. So even though I take a step back from time to time, it's just sometimes, man, just like everything else, just like if you were talking about football, if you were talking about basketball, if you were talking about baseball, if you were talking about soccer, hockey, tennis, you name it, it's always going to be messy. Why? Because it's entertainment. And there are always going to be some messy Marvins out here. It's always going to be some people that's going to disagree with your perspective, and it's always going to have people that's going to have their double standards and things that they can only do, you know, that they can only say, the whole do as I say, not as I am type thing. That's not what we try to do over here. Silence is consent is the channel, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for grown men and women to remain silent. So we speak to these things. Now we look at everything like 80%. 80% of boxing is good, but you gotta understand that this entertainment is ran by the same power to be that run any other entertainment industry. They're gonna put out and have people running around being negative all the time, hating, being despiting, people pulling people down, being crabs in a barrel, all of that. You're gonna have all of that. And when it gets too thick like that, and that's all, and you actually see the nature of what people really want to talk about and the essence of the sport starts going away, that's when I kind of like take a step back and be like, hey, man, that's not why I got online. I got online to actually really talk about that boxing. To really talk about that boxing, to talk about that X's and O's, talk about who's who, talk about things and boxers in the state of boxing in a manner that it will maintain itself. Because there's a lot of people that will send you down these roads, or they'll put stuff in your rucksack, or they'll put stuff out in the road that's going to actually lead to boxing coming to a screeching halt. Like the things that we clamor for, like this novelty boxing, how we upgrade and we uplift all these novelty boxes. But the guy, one of the guys, especially from the era of the city where I'm at, who got it all the way off the concrete, they get all over. You can't say nothing good about them. You know, and everybody won his spot. Everybody is they can't stand to see him win. They want to see him lose. He keep proving them wrong. It's like he got a little thorn in his side with all this legal stuff going on. But they still won't respect the shooter. And I'd be remiss if I didn't go into part of the curriculum, man, because it's been so long. I shouldn't have left you without a dope program to step to. But you know how I am. And if you were the 300, you know that I got to take a step back, man, because it drives me insane at times to actually hear the state of boxing and how 1 minute somebody is saying this, right, and I'm wrong, right? But then 2 months later, like in the case of today, 2 months later, you can hear straight from the horse's mouth about what's really going on. That's why I say, man, having integrity is paramount. Why? Because time will reveal all. People get up on their high horses every day thinking, oh, my sources is this, and oh, because I'm part of the camp and this, and because I shoe shine over here and I eat footlongs over there, that I'm good. No, you're not. You have no integrity. We do. We do, though. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm excited, man, pardon on me. Because we got a lot to cover, man. The state of boxing is crazy, man. Me and AC was supposed to actually do this thing last week. We had a thumbnail going, and it's like, I almost was like, man, AC, did you tell anybody about it? Because the day when I sent the thumbnail, the night when we were supposed to do it, I didn't do it. Then I said, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. And then the next day, I was just like, but when I didn't do it that next day, everybody started talking about it. And I said, see, that's just an indication of how, I know AC can see now, that's just an indication now how we always like a step ahead. And like, and just like everything in life, I know me personally, I've been having to do this because I've been praying for vision since I was in high school, to where I see things and speak about things in real time, but I be a little bit ahead of my time. And then that makes me appear like I'm impatient, like I'm non-forgiving, and I'm not compromising in my views. It's like, no, it's just I've been doing this since high school. 44 years old, man. I don't got time to be playing around, man. And I figure, hey, man, I might as well get back in the lab, work on myself, work on my business, work on my craft, work on everything else, but to sit online and argue with some dummies. Pardon my French. So we were going to talk about this in the state of boxing last week, but we'll get into it. Let me get into this curriculum. Gaslighting is definitely at an all-time high. And I always have to go over this so that you can have something in your rucksack and you'll know the standard in which we run things around here. Gaslighting, everybody talking about that. You ain't gonna gaslight me. You hear some of the biggest channels out here using the jargon. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I say, hey, look, man, don't be looking for the glory and getting all the credit for everything. Just admire the fact that the influence, the impact is there. That's just enough for me. Cause that's all that really matters for real. But gaslighting, to manipulate someone using psychological method into questioning their own sanity or powers of reason. That's what gaslighting is. Now, let's go ahead and get into some things, right? And I'm gonna talk about Tim Bradley first, right? Tim Bradley came full circle, right? And this is what I've been trying to tell you. And then I got something I'm gonna play. I got a couple things I'm gonna play today. But Tim Bradley, he finally came around, and now he wants to respect the shooter. How crazy is that Tim Bradley now wants to respect the shooter? Like now, so this is what I'm trying to tell you. I just read gaslighting. So because you got to think about it like this. Whenever you and somebody are at odds, right, or if you have a disagreement, or you're not seeing eye to eye, right, and you take a step back from a situation, and you allow it to play out, right, and nothing happens, but the other person steps forward, and all of a sudden they have a change of heart. What does that mean? That means that when you all were in the heat of going back and forth, you know, having your discourse, right? You trying to prove your point, they trying to prove their point, they standing your ground, you know what I'm saying, you going down everything that matters to you and all that, much like Tim Bradley does, because he was in a pivotal stand, especially being on that stage, having one of them voices. When all the fights, all the up and coming, especially when it came to Top Rank, but being a Hall of Famer, his influence branched out far beyond that. And for years, we heard Tim Bradley. And for years, I was saying, man, Tim Bradley, why are you always hating, though? You in a position where you don't got to do that. And then he'll come around. Now, he done slipped up a couple times. But then I guess he got his coattail pulled, and they pulled him in the back and say, hey, Tim, man, what you doing, man? You playing for the other team or what, man? You know what I'm saying? This Top Rank is ride or die. And Tim's like, all right, man. I'll get back to hating. Okay, all right. I got a whole new rucksack full of hate that I could just shovel on this man's name. So for years, Tim Bradley's been hating on Tank. For years, he's been hating on Tank. So he's just now coming around. And what happened? Tank got into some, he had another little legal, he got another legal hassle that he's dealing with. Something that's just delaying him, something that's hamstringing his motion right now. That's pretty much what happened, right? So nothing like other than he had a draw. So the last thing we seen was he had a draw with Lamont Roach, right? Who some people would say that Lamont Roach won. You know, I can make an argument that Lamont Roach won. I did make an argument that Lamont Roach won. People say that he didn't do enough to take it from the champ. And Tank, my guy, I'm just one of them guys. I'm not phony. I'm not fake. So I can see it both ways. Did he do enough to snatch the crown from the champ? No. But technically, by the letter of the law, yeah, you could say it. But based on how you judge and all that, so he got a draw. That was it. A rematch was supposed to be scheduled, and that was it. So you got to ask yourself, class, how did Tim Bradley have a change of heart? What made Tim Bradley have a change of heart? I mean, because you can go on and you can say the fact that Rolly got elevated. You can say that. You can say that the fact that, okay, I heard somebody make a point that Tank has stopped two of the reigning champions at the welterweight division, which is 2 weight classes above where he currently is at. You could say that. But for an analyst like Tim, what would make him change his heart? Nothing. Nothing. And see, this is what I be trying to tell y'all, see, because I got something that, because we're going to get on to something else. We're going to get on to this Devin Haney thing as I do this housekeeping thing. We're going to get into this Devin Haney stuff. And I'm going to make a point about this. And we're going to dive into that. Got a couple other things to go through. And then we're going to get right on to Keyshawn, the businessman. Right? That's what we're going to ultimately land the plane and have this open dialogue about. Right? But Sean Porter is going to actually say something that's going to actually like bring home what I'm trying to tell y'all about people and how they get down in the business of boxing, especially when it comes to talking about it. Right? Because everybody has their agendas, but like you ask yourself, Tim Bradley had a change of heart. Now he want to say that Tank is an international Hall of Famer and all this, and nothing has changed. Rolly got elevated. And the fight with Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios went down, of which a lot of people say they believe Manny Pacquiao actually won that fight. That's the only thing that has changed. So that meant that every time the man formed his lips to hate, especially when it came to boxing, now you can disagree with somebody's lifestyle, even though I don't think Tim really knows him. Tim don't be hanging around with Tank or anybody around. He don't know what's going on. He ain't been around Baltimore. He don't know what's going on in Baltimore. Like, he don't know. I mean, he know what he see. He know what people tell him. He know what's going on in the gyms and the back rooms and the conversations. But a lot of people in these conversations, they start and they say a lot of like crazy things. They cause a lot of messy stuff. They have private conversations, talk to people a certain kind of way in public, go back and do a little whisper, a little chat. So he don't know. But that meant that every time that Tim Bradley had got a mic in his face and he was actually talking about Tank Davis when he should have been a pure analyst, because you can still be raising at the time. You could have still been. I used to say this about Andre Ward too. You could still be raising the top ranked banner, but still be a pure, unbiased analyst, even if you got favorites. Yeah, you really can. It's like you can like a lot of the fighters over there at PBC, right? Call them for what they are, right? And still analyze them in a way that don't pay them bad, don't pay them good. Just paint them how they actually are on their merits and what they actually do. And I think that we started to see a little more, even though I still think Andre Ward got some bias. You know what I'm saying? You can tell when he talked to certain people, especially anybody that was with the top rank, anybody with the Bud committee. Same thing with Tim Bradley. Anybody in that little family tree, it's a little bias there. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think that Andre Ward has been showing more and more unbiasedness since he left. And he's been doing some of the best work out there, especially when he talked like the piece with Roy Jones, classic. The Andre Ward documentary, classic. But like, I'm talking about the influence and how he gets down with certain boxes and how, you know, he has a liking to this one. He's going to paint this one that way. You know, that's just his creative control over his product, which I understand. But I do see that he has become more unbiased since he left. Now you got Tim Bradley doing the same thing. Now that that deal is over or whatever, and he's saying it ain't over, but he said he's still going. But now you starting to see him say certain things like what he just said about Tank, which makes no sense, which was really a head scratcher. Why? Because in real time he was lying. So keep this in mind when I be talking about gaslight, when people be having conversations. Because we gonna talk about Boots. People be gaslighting about Boots, but now the truth is coming out about Boots. People be gaslighting when it comes to Shakur, and Shakur is still talking. But let me break down this before we because some of this stuff is going to coincide to what we're going to cook on when it comes down to like the actual state of boxing portion of this whole thing. But I'm gonna get into this thing about what I was saying, because I was telling y'all, listen, the Ice Age, this is what I was telling y'all. Brian Norman is getting ready to end this guy, and I had been trying to tell y'all that this was not something that Devin Haney really wanted, that he didn't have no option. But see me, since I don't have no sources, you know what I'm saying? I don't ride and hang on, you know, pubic hairs of boxers and, you know, contort myself into a pretzel to get interviews and put people all in my thumbnails just so that they could say I'm affiliated with Bud, or I'm part of the Beehive, or I'm part of the D-Hive, or because I don't do all of these things, right? My perspectives are often questioned. But most of the time, I'm not gonna say 100%. I'm gonna say about 80-90% of the time, it aged like fine wine. So what are you talking about, Mike? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Look, let's go to this. Let's go to this piece right here, and it's gonna make sense. And I gotta do this, man. I gotta do this. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair. So I want y'all to understand that I'm trying to tip the balance in favor of fair. So when I'm actually talking about the things that I be talking about, like this, like this, like this, like this. It take time, y'all. It take time. And since I be having a whole lot of other stuff to do, I can't catch it all. I can't address it all. I can't do like they be doing us when it comes out to our real history and what's going on, how they always coming out with these felonious claims, and then somebody got to come out to address it and to get them off of their real work. That's what I try not to do, man. You can't address everything, but I noticed if I slow down, stop my frequency, I can catch it all, address it thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? Put a firm stake in the ground so I can't be denied. But I was trying to tell y'all that Devin Haney did not want this fight. He got caught up. I told y'all that in real time. But people, you're going to learn now in hindsight. You're going to learn now in hindsight. Listen to this. I gave my disclosure. Listen. Listen.
You want to hate on me. So here, this is what I'm going to do. We did an episode about two or three weeks ago, and I sent notes for the show. And in the notes, I said, we're going to talk about Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. In parentheses, I put, this fight ain't happening. That wasn't for y'all. That was for the team. There's a lot of things that I say to the team that I don't always say to y'all. A lot of offline conversations that we have that aren't supposed to be for y'all. It's not my job to tell y'all what this man is doing, even though I know what he's doing. Because
it's not my job to tell y'all what he's doing, even though I know what he's doing. So a lot of time when these guys be up there and they be on these shows and they be talking to them saying blah, 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 and this, they are out there on their own agenda. Now, whatever that is, it might be promoting, it might be staying relevant, it might just, get some more fans, whatever it is, like just to be, to help a show, to be a team player and support a show and to support a channel. A lot of the time, the stuff that they are saying, it does not mean that the stuff that they're saying or they're putting out that's really what's going on, because they know something else. Sean Porter just said it. Listen.
At the end of the day, it could prevent him from being able to maneuver the way that he wants to maneuver in a sport that you have to have plan A, B, C, and D in terms of how you're going to maneuver in this thing. It's not my job to shut off plan B and plan D, and now all he got is A and C to work with. That's not my job.
Read between the lines. It's not my job to shut off plan C and plan D. So now that all he got to work with, see, because this was a slip of the tongue. This was when you know when they say somebody called your bluff, like this really what this was. Like the Haneys and them, they got their bluff called. So you gotta listen to what Sean Porter. I'm not gonna take his thunder, but this is on the video. It's only 8 minutes and 26 seconds, right? It's a video that Sean Porter put out 3 days ago. It's 8 minutes and 26 seconds long. And the title is Bill Haney is Mad.
But at the same time, there's a lot of things that go on in this sport, not just with Bill Haney, that I realize and I know what's going on, and I just don't say nothing. But this time, it came out. So I'm going to answer to it, right? It didn't make sense to me, and I've said this before, that the fight wasn't going to happen, right? So then we fast forward, and when he started calling out Brian Norman Jr. about doing the testing, and everybody's hit me like, yeah, you said that they was going to back out. You said that they was going to back out. Well, slow your roll. They're not backing out because they're afraid. They're not backing out because they don't think they can win. This just wasn't the fight that they wanted. That's all.
You understand? So don't go hating on him. He wasn't saying that they scared. Now I will. I'm gonna say they scared. I'm gonna say they scared. They shaking in their boots. That's me. So I'm gonna separate myself from Sean Porter, and I'm gonna say they scared because they was actually bluffing. But we're both coming to the same conclusion. Him with inside information, and me just doing what I always do, following the bouncing ball all along. Either way, we end up at the same conclusion that this was not a fight that they really wanted.
All I was trying to say. I'm not trying to say I don't believe in Devin Haney. I'm not trying to say I believe so much in Brian Norman Jr. It's just not the fight that they wanted. I saw that, and even though I voiced that to my people, now y'all got it, right? So if anything, just take and understand that, hey, SP know a little bit more than y'all realize. And no, I don't play stupid to it. I just don't speak on it. But since we here, and you want to call this man and tell him sign up for drug testing right now, or we're pulling out of the fight, Vada not gonna show up as soon as he pushed the signed button. Vada not showing up the next day, and they might not show up the next week. So why would you put so much heat on this kid about drug testing? I understand the sensitivity to it.
Well, we had Big Smoke on, right? Before the fight. That was
Big Smoke.
Who was that?
You talking about
D-Smoke. D-Smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Well, remember he said one thing, when you dictate to another fighter a whole bunch of times, eventually you start to strip him of something heading into the fight. Because now you got him, D-Smoke put it better than I could, but you got him walking the way you want him to walk, coming into the ring when you say you come into the ring, and you start to not feel like the champion that you are getting into there. Maybe
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is Adrian Broner versus Sean Porter. There was nothing that AB was going to say that was going to shake me up and bother me. Same thing with Brian Norman Jr.
Gotcha.
My man's still talking about, I just want to go on vacation.
Right.
And I love what he said. He said, this ain't the only thing that's in my life. My life ain't just boxing.
I didn't know how to feel about that.
I loved it.
Yeah, but do you think Floyd Mayweather?
See, this is Sean Zattel, and he got some of the irkiest points, but he got his claws in the game. Just ignore Sean Zattel right now. That's not what this for. Just ignore Sean right now. I don't know what he think. I don't know who he think he is, but I mean, just ignore that.
Canelo Alvarez would say that, or Manny Pacquiao. That my life isn't just. I get it. Nobody's life is literally just boxing.
I chose not to because I felt like I didn't want people to question my question.
You didn't want to say it out loud.
I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want anybody to just look at me any different. Yeah, look at me any different. You know. But at the same time, it's a truth.
Yeah.
And he told his truth. And I told my truth. And if you don't think the truth hurts or you don't think the truth is real, the fact that this man gets on the Boxing Voice talking about the way I dress, when you talking about the issues at hand, it lets me know that you're a little bothered, that you hear truth. When people hear truth, they attack. They get defensive. Or they do the...
Ooh, Sean. I know a little bit about that, man, because we be speaking nothing but truth, man. People get real defensive. And when I used to go out and peruse and go on other channels and just start speaking that truth, that's exactly what be happening, Sean. They get real defensive. You know what I'm saying? They pucker. That.
Another thing, which is, you know what? You're right. I'm going to humble myself and say, okay. So that's all it was. My man heard truth, and he didn't like the truth that he heard. I didn't mean for that truth to get out the way that it did, but it is what it is. But you got to deal with this now. I think, like Ness asked me, I think they try to get ahead of the promotion and all those other kinds of things, and it ended up backfiring on them. And now they in the fight that they might not have wanted tomorrow. They might have wanted that fight next week or next month, not tomorrow. And now this is the next thing for them, you know?
We're setting up a great foil. For if Haney can win this fight, put on a great performance, he'll really, proved a lot, and we'll have to give him a lot of credit. He could very well do that. I can't wait. This fight, I'm looking forward to maybe even more than Canelo Crawford. I am actually. Two young in their prime fighters. One of them has been to the top. He wants to show people that's who he still is after Garcia, what happened there and everything. Norman is knocking on the door. He's an underground king trying to blow on the mainstream. Yeah. So I can't wait for this fight. This is going to be a hell of a fight.
That's a perfect way to put it, too. He's the underground king.
Yeah.
And this dude that sold $1 million.
He's already went platinum.
He went double platinum a couple times, you know?
Brian Norman's trying to 50 Cent Ja Rule him.
Yeah.
He's trying to be that hungry.
See, ain't that ironic? I know people be listening. You heard that 50 Cent Ja Rule?
There you go.
Rapper knocks you off, takes your spot. You know? Yeah.
So hopefully that clears everything up. Definitely don't mean to throw shade at the Haney team. It was a truth that just kind of came out. But answer to the truth. Don't attack and don't go the whole disrespectful route. I know Bill. I know he always liked to be fun and things like that. It's beautiful, it's great, but don't bring it at me because I'm doing the best I can to advocate and change this thing.
Do you know why it's good you didn't get on and argue with him?
So that Sean Porter knew that that's not a fight that they wanted, and see that's what they've been doing, right? But nobody has ever really been able to catch them the way that the Normans was able to catch them. See, I've had a track record on this channel of showing you for years now, showing you to where, oh, we getting ready to fight Mr. Gary Russell Jr. and then you fight Gamboa. Oh yeah, we'll step in and we'll fight Tank. You fight JoJo Diaz. Oh man, we about to fight Lomachenko. You get Jorge Linares. Like, it's always been to where they will come out for years now. They will come out, they will attach themselves. One time it was Mikey Garcia. One time it was Robert Easter. Then it was AB. And it always went on and oh, it's gonna be Tank. Oh yeah, we gonna be here for the rest of the year. Ain't gonna be no other champion, and then it's something else. So they've always been able to, like Sean Porter said, they've always been able to get out ahead of things, attach themselves to name. I call it the Linguini method. They just throw a whole bunch of names up on the refrigerator and see which one sticks. And I always said that the DHP, they win most of their fights before they even step in the ring. Wow. Because of the opponent selection, the timing, and the age. And that's come up. Like, Devin is like, that's why I say all it takes for everything to reveal itself is time. Devin has came out and said, oh, this is the first time I'm fighting somebody younger than me. Like, that's a red flag. This is like one of the first, aside from Ryan Garcia, this is the first time he's fighting somebody close to his size, and he's still coming in saying that he's too small. This is not a fight that they wanted. This is a fight that they kind of got. They done bluffed. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, because what they should have did was they should have took that Richardson Hitchens fight. Why? Because Richardson Hitchens would have been at the mercy of having to move up. That would have been the champion. And then that would have been somebody that you definitely, I don't know if Richardson would knock Devin. I don't think he would. I'm not sure. I don't know how that fight would go. I don't think he would get knocked out. But I do think he's going to get flatlined. I think he's going to get flatlined by Brian Norman. I stand on it. I've been standing on it. And all it took was a couple weeks. And Sean Porter just blew the top off of it. Well, he knew. Everybody knew except for the Haneyeites. Everybody knows that this is not really a fight that they wanted. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They got caught bluffing. They got caught all in the mess hall with their chests out, but they didn't know that all the cells were open. All the cells was open, and there was an assassin out there like, oh, okay, that's how you feel? Okay, let's boogie. Let's dance. And then a father that can get with Bill. You see, because Bill, he's always had, if you look at it, he's always had the privilege. Like when he caught Shakur on that infamous live over there on H Money, Shakur was without representation. He didn't have Wally with him on there, and I said, man, I wish that whole thing he would have had Wally, because Shakur was trying to respect Bill. Bill was in the mess hall with his chest out. When he had Regis had a coach. He had his strength and conditioning coach with him, Evan Tobler. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really have no real backing. Didn't have his father up there with him. So he got to talk and say, see, now they got somebody that can get with him on both levels. Bill can't out-talk Senior. And Devin about to get beat. I'm not even going to say how bad, but it's going to be ugly. It's about to get ugly. That's why I say Ice Age, it's going to be an Ice Age. You know what I'm saying? That whole running for Mount Rushmore, you're going to get put on ice. See, that's like, you see that guy, Screet, with his name Screet, chasing that nut, he going to get iced. So I wanted to bring that out. This is the part where this is the part that we were supposed to be going over last week. This is the Silk Sheet era, right? And Shakur, he got with Eddie. I thought his contract was up. We heard Shakur saying some things. And I just, at this point in time, man, even though, you know, I used to be a hardcore Shakur fan, man, I'm just resigned to just, when he got big fights coming up and he get in the ring, when they yell ding, 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 that's when I'm a fan. All that outside the ring, I done seen enough of this. I don't even know this new Shakur. I've been saying this for about, well, we in August, this 8. I've been saying this for about a year, a little over a year now, where I say I don't even know this new Shakur. I don't even know this kid. You know what I'm saying? Not that I ever knew him to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's my fault. Not that I ever really truly knew him anyway. But everything that I seen, just like right now, I think I got a good peg on how Abdullah Mason is, like how I think I got a good peg on how Brian Norman is, and how I'm starting to follow along with what they're doing and paying attention to what they're doing and how they're moving and how they're speaking and trying to, you know what I'm saying, see what I can get like in different settings and how their personality is, like as much as you can know without actually knowing them. That's what I mean. But the guy that I thought Shakur was at his core, that's not Shakur. I don't know this guy. He signed with Eddie Boots, and how I thought and how he's moving, even going to his fight up when he was up there against Stan Giannis, thinking I'm watching history and all this, thinking, okay, I'm ingratiating myself, trying to learn more about Boots, trying to, you know, give him a fair shake because he was in the shadows of Spence and Bud for so long. He was the next big thing. He was the second coming of Roy Jones, just like Shakur was the second coming of Floyd Mayweather, and neither one of those guys. I just heard Andre Rozier say, listen, man, because they be trying to bait these guys and trying to influence and always trying to pit. Instead of being genuine with these questions, they asked Andre Rozier, is he like Floyd? And Andre Rozier said, listen, and no, he's not. I like the fact that he was like a no BS. He was in the no BS zone where he was just like, no, he's not Mayweather. I think Shakur is just Shakur at this point. You know, he has his style, but none of these guys is Mayweather. I'm glad that somebody beside myself was able to say something like that, because when I say it, I'm hating. He's not Floyd, and Boots is not Roy. I wish somebody of some popularity, some coach, somebody with a name, hopefully Sean Porter or somebody that listen to me, since I can't say it and qualify with nothing. I hope somebody of some substance will actually say it, that Boots ain't Roy either. He ain't moving like Roy. He ain't making decisions like Roy. And from what I see right now, the best fights that he actually had, Romain Villa and a PBC fighter in Montes Stanionis, those were the best fights he had. They was with the PBC, and these guys are choosing to hang with Eddie. I told y'all it's a tale of two Eddies. It's a tale of two Eddies, and these guys have found confidence. And when I was saying this, oh man, why are you always hating on Boots? Because remember, when I was saying that he was that he need to go ahead and move up and go ahead and get Bakram out the way. He got the IBF. Go ahead and make your stamp. You know what I'm saying? The clock is ticking, young man. Go ahead and do your thing. They said I was rushing Boots. I said, rushing Boots? He the second coming of Roy Jones. So I was rushing Boots. Then they say, no, he don't need to go. No, at that time, the politician and all his flunkies, all his groupies, they was all saying, oh man, he need to stay right where he at. And he said he wanted to be undisputed. I'm like, we know he said he wanted to be undisputed, but come on, bro. When he got out of the Bud line, everybody gave him a pass. I had to come out and do I came out and did a video, and I had to apologize to Bud for that one thing right there. Let's get that clear. I had to apologize for Bud for thinking that Bud was ever dodging no smoke with Boots. But I said, you know what? I got to see how he moving. So then when I heard that the whole Stan Giannis thing, I said, okay, then he's really real. He's really talking about being undisputed. He won all of the straps. Okay, cool. Then the stuff started happening with the Normans. And you could poke all kind of holes in the logic, and people still want to run with it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna fall on their sword. They're gonna die on their sword with the point that that Norman ducked him the first time. It's like y'all must have, I don't know how many times some of y'all, especially the ones up there in Philly, I don't know how many times y'all did the 6th grade, but you shouldn't be able to take the 6th grade more than like, if you had to do the 6th grade 3 times, man, you might as well just go ahead and get out there in the streets and figure out some manual labor type situation, or really be out there in the streets, because some of y'all are remedials, I don't know what, man, with those talking points. I started seeing all those talking points with the Normans and all the BS that was going on, and people still standing on them stupid talking points that have been debunked over and over again. It started making me look at Boots like, hold on, man. Now you got the skills. You got some skills. It's clear. Like, everybody see that you got the skills. You a good guy. Like, you a gym rat. You know what I'm saying? You got skills. You the eye test. Everybody, hey, you got the swag, the symbol, the Boots. Boots got one of the hardest logos out there. He got Philly. I got an eagle. I got a Philly eagle on my shoulder. I used to be all things Philly. So you have the cachet, but then when we start looking at Z moves, when you got options, it's like you can't have it both ways. And this is what I've been trying to tell people from the Beehive, because you got the D-Hive, which is Devin and them, which I said, Boots, he got a Beehive. It's just like the D-Hive, but Boots fans are a little more logical. They just get irrational when it comes down to Boots. Devin fans, they just irrational about everything and everybody. They hypocrites about a lot of stuff. AC about the only one I know, the most level-headed D-Hive or Devin fan that I know, as far as being able to compartmentalize and look at everything and judge these fighters in a vacuum. But the D-Hive, they're delusional all the way. Boots, the Beehive, they're not as bad. They just get frank. It's almost like when you hit that nest and you say something about Boots, they just get they start getting all high pitched and they start getting all emotional, and you don't know if you need to run to the store and get them some pads, or you don't know how to treat them once you do that. That's the only thing. And it's just like, it's really not Boots' fault. But I say that y'all can't have it both ways, because you can't say it ain't Boots' fault when he chose to get with Eddie. And since the contract is up and he chose to re-sign with Eddie, and it's not till now that the politician just now came out and did a video about how we might be getting a Josh Kelly, and is he running his career in the toilet. But when I was saying, oh man, hold on, Boots, well, I don't know, man, I don't know, bro, like, hold on, where's all this hate coming from Boots? Why y'all always hating on Boots? Boots ain't did nothing. It's like, no, listen, we judge everybody the same way. We put them all on the scales, man. We can't question his moves. But I noticed something, because when I was saying he should move up, they were saying he should stay there. When he moved up, they turned around. Now this is months later. You got to think, we went to the fight. That was in April. We in August. They were saying they wanted to fight the Normans. They come out with a whole nother scheme, talking about, he's been in the division for 10 years. It was time for him to move up, and he couldn't do the weight. His name got nothing to do with the weight. Boots is a gym rat. Ain't had nothing to do with the weight. They didn't want to recognize that Fahrenheit 147. And the way Norman was looking and the way he was coming up, it was going to look bad. It was going to look bad. That's just the stark reality of things. It was about to get ugly. It was getting ready to get ugly, man, because they wasn't putting no respect on the Normans in them. And they didn't think he was going to be able to do the things that he's been able to do. Now, are we saying he's a world beater? Oh, kinda. He look like he's getting cut. He's cut from that cloth now. He still has a big, broad career, but the charisma, the way he look at things, how practical he is, you know what I'm saying? How he's just himself. He's genuine. You know, Senior did a good job with that dude. He ain't flashy. He's direct. He's a road warrior. He don't care. He'll go to your country. He'll go to your backyard. It's just looking like, man, the timing and all of that. It just don't look right. That's why I said these ninjas is scared. Like, that's how it's looking. So now that the politician come out, because now we're gonna hear a whole bunch of the people in the echo chambers, all these echo chambers, they're gonna be saying the same thing. Now it's gonna be okay because the politician came out and said, "Oh, is he running his career down the toilet now, or should we like for? Hold on, man. You said 2 tune-ups. Hold on, Josh Kelly. Hold on. Now that the politician said something, now you're gonna hear all the other echo chambers come out and they're gonna echo those same sentiments. And it's gonna come right back to something I said a long time ago when I asked this question. Are they making American? Now I'm seeing this point being driven home big time now. Remember, I told you a lot of these people are hindsight to 2020. I seen somebody biting the hindsight to 2020 thing just this past week too. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the compliment. You know what I'm saying? Hope you got lots of super chats off that one, but that's definitely a copy. You know what I'm saying? That's not an original. But I was asking, are they making American boxing great again? I had to put that because I actually like Eddie. Eddie has grown on me in many ways, but then I also see the BS when it comes to Eddie. Why? Because I said, and I heard this talking point used the other day. When it comes down to these promoters and their guys, they're always going to do what's in their best interest. Just like when Tim Bradley's with and Andre Ward, when he was with ESPN, their best interest, the ESPN banner, was going to be held down. People over here, like the way David Benavidez said, no, man, I'm doing this over here. At that point in time, he said, no, I got a fan base. I want to cater myself to my fan base and all this. At that point in time, it sounded wonderful. The way Tank is standing on here and saying, no, listen, man, I got fans over here. Like, I got to cater to these. Like, yeah, I'm getting my bread, but I got to cater to. Eddie is catering to, and I said this on Chump Side channel a long time ago. Yeah, I said Chump Side. I said it on Chump Side channel a long time ago when I said one thing you got to learn and you got to notice about Eddie is going to cater everything to the people over there across the pond. He is excellent at procuring American talent, taking them over there, putting them in these obscure fights to make his fighters, get his fighters paydays, get his people over there paid, to stack the undercard so that some of them guys get to see some of the American talent as he uplifts his talent over there. Because if you look at how he did Connor Boots, coming off the momentum that he had, people don't even want to see that. They don't want to see that Conor Ben. They don't want to see that again. Eubanks. They don't want to see that again. So when he had all that momentum, and then Boots had all the momentum coming off of Stanionis, Boots and Conor Ben would have been the fight if you would do a cross the pond type deal. But no, he's about to unalive both of their momentum. The momentum that both of them have, he's about to unalive it. Why? Because when it comes down to it, he kind of don't know what he's doing. And then if you look at the guy on the right, and if you listen to him, which I told y'all a while ago who he was, who this guy really is, this is him, but this is him too. Y'all see it? This guy on the right, this sugar daddy, is really this, a Trojan horse. I told y'all this a long time ago. If he had all the money, we should have been got this. I told y'all this a long time ago. So when you actually look at the guy on the right and you judge what he said, right? Since everybody want to jack what he say and go by what he was saying, when you listen to what he said the other day about the subject matter at hand right now, the guy on the right, he said that he asked him for 2 tune-ups. And he was like, Sheik, Sugar Daddy Sheik was like, listen, man, if you want tune-ups, man, you know, go over there with Eddie, man. If you want tune-ups, go over there with Eddie, man. Call me when you want a big fight. Call me when you want a big fight, man. You know, hit me when you want a big fight. So, can we say that the proof is in the pudding? Because if Sheik say, listen, if you want tune-ups, go over there with Eddie. When you want big fights, call me, man. When you want big fight, and then we get a report that he's over there with Eddie, getting ready to get it down with Machine Gun Kelly. The state of boxing, man. The state of boxing, man. But let me bring this home, man. Let me get down. That's just the state of boxing, man. It's like y'all looking real suspect. I told y'all, man, the only thing that separates me from a lot of these guys is the fact that I be talking about this stuff in real time. Even when I take my time and I don't declare to be first, I don't even like being first. How can I be first? The only thing that really helps me is the fact that I be on this stuff in real time, and these guys like to wait, and they like to do everything in hindsight. That's why I be saying hindsight is 20/20. So that's the state of boxing. Before we get into the Keyshawn stuff, did you have something, AC?
Yeah, basically I wanted to come in and say it like this. Where we are with the state of boxing, just like I explained to Body my perspective of it. Basically last week that was leading to the conversation. It was because I came at it from the perspective of saying, all right, how did we get here? How did we get here to the state of boxing to whereas we're at a junction where, you know, the guys that we're following, you know, those of us who followed Earl and Bud and everybody when they came in, that generation, right? We followed them coming in. Then they got to a level to whereas people want to say the business of boxing, the politics of boxing, these little catchphrases, and these are the things that prevent us from getting the fights that we wanted, whether it's the politics, the business, or promoters or whatever it is. But we're not. These fighters are getting to the point where we're not getting the fights that we should be getting, just like Body broke it down when it came down to the boot situation. And then it forces us to look at, you know, the youngins, like the Joseph Browns, like the Cleo Coles and Abdullah Masons and stuff like that. Guys that have less than 10 fights we're looking at right now. And we keep looking at these guys, and then we follow them, and then if they're official, we can just stay following them. But it seems as though, you know, everybody has that moment to whereas they get stagnant. And then we got to say, all right, these guys ain't moving nothing. The business of boxing is fucking up these fights. So now let's see who's the next youngest generation coming up behind these guys. So as it keeps going, pretty soon we're going to be looking at amateurs and be like, I can't wait till he hit the pros, which is already starting to happen in some circles. Because I don't know if it's the promoters, I don't know the money, I don't know what it is. If I go by Tom Brown saying it's not us, it's the fighters, then okay, what the fuck is really going on? What the hell is really going on? Why does these things really have to be such big issues if it's entertainment and the fans are like, you know, give us a fight that we want, not a fight that we ain't asking for. Nobody's asking for this Boots versus this dude's fight. Even if you were asking for a tune-up, people would more likely be in tune to saying, I want to see Boots versus Keith Thurman. Where you are, Jerome Boots Ennis, you're the second coming of Roy Jones. Keith Thurman is the perfect guy for you to move up to 54. If not, Keith Thurman, revisit Charles Conway. But give us something that we can sink our teeth into. Not this bullshit that you're going to gaslight the shit out of us, spinning back and you reintroducing one of one of Body's words. It's you're gonna gaslight the shit out of us to tell us that the guy that Boots is about to fight or looking to try to make the fight. Now all of a sudden, watch all the talking points of all the weirdos who go, I watch the UK channel, so do I. And they don't want this fight neither. You feel what I'm saying? So the American market, whoever's going to get their hands on it, Eddie's going to gaslight us. They're all going to gaslight us to say this is Boots' breakout fight at 54. This is his introduction. And it's going to be basically another guy that's tailor-made for Boots, stylistically and power-wise. He's not going to be any threat to Jerron Boots Ennis. Unless Boots Ennis goes in there and he gets sparked out like Munguia did or some shit like that. You know, so just keep in mind of how we continuously get there and why some of these younger fighters are now, you know, are being rushed in the spotlights. Because the other guys that we've been trying to put money in the bank, and we did put money in the bank and build houses on this shit like that, they're slowing down for whatever reasons. But they're slowing down, and we're not getting the mix that we really want. And it's unfortunate that a guy that was giving us fights at least twice a year or whatever, Tank Davis is now caught up in some bullshit that's now going to prolong the fight with him and Lamont Roach, if that's still going on. I'm hearing rumors it's off, it's on, it's this, it's that. I don't really know.
Yeah. Let me say this, man. Before we get into the meat and potatoes with Keyshawn. You know, it's wild because it was one of them things. It was almost like I was looking at it almost like when comparably, like when it was first announced that Tank was going to fight Lamont Roach the first time. When it was first announced, I had to consider everything. I was doing the same thing with Boots when it was announced that he was going to 54. I'm like, well, who was he going to fight? I'm like, well, when I found out that it wasn't going to be Bakram, so Bakram would have been on the level of like a Lomachenko, like when Tank was going to go for Lomachenko, and that didn't happen. I'm like, okay, but it's not Bakram. I'm like, okay, cool. Dang, well, who was going to be? Couldn't be Fundora, so it wasn't going to be Fundora, so that would have been like the Tank versus the court. We wasn't going to get that either. So I'm like, well, dang, well, who is it going to be? And when they said Yoenis Tellers, I was like, well, at first I was like, hell no. Then I was like, hold on, Mike, just consider everything. I was like, okay. If you want to get acclimated, Yoenis Tellers, he a young, he got some thump, you know what I'm saying? He got some thump in them gloves, and you know, Cuban. I was like, I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, if that's what you want to do, and then they considering that, I'm like, okay, cool. I could roll with that. But then it's like they pulled the rug out from under, so it's now we not even gonna get that. And then I said, okay, well, if y'all pump fake Conwell with a contract, why couldn't it be Conwell? Because Conwell came off of a controversial decision against the dude Perez. He did beat him. I did have him edging Conwell. It wasn't a blowout, but it was just he edged him. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was just Conwell didn't make no adjustments. He had a bad night at the office. I mean, he didn't get the break speed off him or nothing like that. He just got outworked. Like it's almost like how Amparo beat Sabril Matias almost. Like it was just like it was one of them kind of victories where he didn't get beat up. He just didn't have a good night, didn't make too many adjustments, kept doing the same thing and got outworked. So I'm like, okay, well, we didn't get a Conwell. I guess they would consider Thurman a big fight, even though Thurman is out here scratching and pawing and pleading for a fight. He said, yeah, man, as long as the money is whatever. And I'm like, you over there with Eddie, you over there with Turkey. It's like, what is the problem? And then we hear Josh Kelly. So then you have to go and you have to do the whole robot spin like on Dave Chappelle's show when he was on the floor and he did the robot spin. And I'm like, hold on, man. So you got to start looking at your career, Boots.
Yeah.
Because you're not a spring chicken either. Like that's another thing. You're not a spring chicken. And when this is the thing, this is the litmus test right here. When you look at Mario Barrios, when you look at Mario Barrios, and they say that like the talent is y'all like are eons apart, right? But Mario Barrios got in the ring with Tank, he got in the ring with Keith Thurman, he got in the ring with Ugas, he got in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. You know, you got to think, man. As far as resume wise, in the same period of time, because people like to say what Tank, what people did at the 135 division when Tank was in the 135 division. Well, look at everything that Mario Barrios was able to do while he was in the same division as you, Boots. And your two best fights you had was with PBC, and you're messing around with Eddie to where, yeah, you getting this bag. But when they put up Mario Barrios' resume next to your resume,
not even close.
He's killing you, son. He's killing you. So you ain't gonna gaslight. I'll say you ain't gonna gaslight me. I'm already lit. I'm just saying, man, when you look at everything, you can't take the back seat and be like, oh yeah, I'm cool, and then have your fans do your bidding for you. Because you said if you don't hear it from me, if you don't hear it from me, if you don't hear it from me, don't believe a thing. You know what I'm saying? And then when you be over there YSM, they ask you all these soft ass questions. So it's not looking good. The echo chamber, they're gonna run with it, and now it's gonna be okay, and they're gonna find a way to come around and say, oh well, it's just this one time. It's like, no, you went up there asking for 2 tune-ups. You're not cut from the same cloth as Earl. You can try to gaslight people and say, oh, you can't have it both ways. You say Earl is, yeah, we think Earl needs tune-ups, but that ain't got nothing to do with Boots. Earl don't do tune-ups. And Bud, both times when he moved up, he got Jeff Horn, and then regardless of what we say about Magic Mom, he went straight up for a champion. So if you decide to come with Roy Jones, you should have went straight up and got your issue with whoever, man. State your claim to fame, especially since you're saying you wanted to be undisputed in 4 divisions. You gave up because you wasn't too far away. I don't care what they say. It's almost like you went right up there to that giant house and you knocked on the door, right? And when they was up there getting the chain off and, you know what I'm saying, trying to move the bar from behind the door, you like, nah, that's it, man. I'm going up the street, man. They don't want no smoke. Because you was not, you could have had the Normans. That would have been 3 of the Infinity Stones right there. It was only 1 of them left. So if you could have landslide and slid like when Earl, when he got all 3, if you'd have just waited and did what y'all said y'all were gonna do with the Normans, you would have had 3 out of the 4. Barrios would have had to come in with the last stone. Like the box world would have made him. So it's like you said no. So now we're gonna let you off the hook where you go up a whole division, and you're gonna get a Josh Kelly and who else? And we just gonna, and you want the fans to just shift their angst over there to Virgil. Virgil didn't know when you was moving up. He wasn't part of your team. Y'all not part of the same. Y'all have nothing to do with each other. So we're not gonna shift everything over to Virgil. Be like, oh no, you got to right now. It's like nobody knew you was getting ready to do that. So boom, we gotta blow a hole in that. He had his own thing going on. So whether he was hurt, whether he said, oh nah, well shoot, give me until, that's his right, because nobody knew you were moving up. Your team and them knew. That's why I was shady what you did to the Normans. So it ain't nowhere around this. That's like the suicide jacket, the one where they make you hug yourself and give you M&Ms. Yeah. You know, give you a little cup of little blue Kool-Aid every day, to where y'all can have that, trying to convince us over and over again. That's gonna be insanity right now. So until Boots do something else, man, this move looking suspect. That's all I got on that before we move on to Key.
Yeah, we can move on to Key, because Boots' situation is self-explanatory. If you have common sense and you can read the room, whether you're talking about boxing or just life in general, you can read the room. You can easily see. It's the same thing with Devin. You made an offer, right? He told you what was up, and then y'all decided to say, you know what? Since he ain't signed, we gonna move on, because we know he about to put on the devastating knockout of Jin Sasaki over there in Japan. So we trying to get in front of that and take some of that energy away from him and distract him. Now, just before, because I forgot this talking point, I just wanted to say, we have to remember momentums of a champion. Boots had a lot of momentum as a champion at 47. You just beat Stanionis. You got lineal championship as well. That's the one part of the equation that I think many people miss. Boots is lineal champion at 47.
Yep.
Brian Norman had great energy coming off of the Jin Sasaki win. That would have been the easiest fight to make, probably one of the most relevant fights of 2025. But you decide to go up there to 54 and start all over again while everything was right there. Shorty was on the bed, no panties, legs wide open. You feel what I'm saying? She put on some perfume, took a bath, everything, bruh. Had the lights dim, had your favorite hip hop or love song, however you like to really get down. And she said, "Daddy, all I want you to do is pound me." And you said, "Nah, I'm gonna go downstairs and take a nap first." Like, bruh, how fast you think Shorty got dressed? And said, "I'm done with this lame ass nigga." So at the end of the day, that's the best way I could that move, because it makes no sense to me. You feel what I'm saying? Now we can move on to Keyshawn now.
He got up out of there. Like, you remember that movie Colors?
Yep.
From back of the day when he finally found out that his shorty was a streetwalker. She was like, "This is me, Pac-Man." You know, and he was looking like he didn't know her.
For real.
But yeah, man, momentum, man. You had that's the whole thing. You had the momentum, and look, the last part of this was this. What I be trying to say, right? This is a part of the stake in the ground conversation that I be having. Is you could have set the standard, like, because remember how could they say Bud basically mushed you and was like, he sunned you, like, "Nah, son, like, nah, man, stay there for you for what? You ain't did nothing." And he moved on, right? And you was in line, and it was between Spence and Bud. They settled their stuff or whatever, and you was on the back burner just like all the other welterweights on the back burner, waiting for the two big head honchos to get it on and had their showdown. They had their showdown, right? But you got mushed. You was just like, you got put off to the side, you know what I'm saying? And maybe later, you know what I'm saying? Go find something to do. We busy right now. But then you turn around, you did the same thing. See, you could have put a stake in the ground and been like, you know what? For the culture, what would Roy do? Because Roy Jones would have took that fight. Like, yeah. Let's be honest. Roy Jones would have took that fight. Roy Jones wouldn't have moved. I think Floyd, if we talk about Floyd, I think Floyd would have took that fight. At this stage in his career, doing what he needed to do, wanting to make that statement, wanting to go into that next level of stardom, they would have took that fight. They would have said, hold on, man, I just fought here. I just fought at this weight in April. Like, I don't have a rehydration. Like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I can't do it for another 3 months, like 2 more months. I can't do this again. So You could have put a stake in the ground and been an example. So now you're gonna be the example to where it, right, when we fast forward and people are having debates or whatever, they're gonna be like, nah, cause that don't mean he's scared, son. Look, you really think Boots couldn't have beat Brian Norman? He moved up. So you trying to tell me he ducking? You really try, like, that's gonna be a talking point, and they're gonna use this move you just did to justify it.
Yep.
So this is what I be trying to say as far as the future, and like when people looking at how you move, you got people that's coming up behind you that justify your moves. It's just like the move that Shakur made when all of the belts was on his side of the street except for the one that Tank had, and he left that side, went over there to sign with Eddie to do something else, and told Eddie, don't even try to make the Tank fight. Like, nowhere in history have I ever, but people are going to justify and use that as a benchmark. Where like, nah, that don't mean that, man. Shakur was still pound for pound. It's like, yeah, okay, he might be pound for pound, but like, look at the move. But anyway, you could have been a positive example and a positive talking point moving forward had you made that decision to fight Norman. That's it on that. Let's get down to the business, man. This guy, Keyshawn, the businessman Davis. There was a Keyshawn businessman Davis sighting the other day. He came out and like everything in real time. In real time, I was on it in real time. I had the pulse on Keyshawn in real time. I've been following him all along his journey and everything. And I was one of them guys to where it's like, I'm a fan, but I'm not like a sausage party only fan. Like I feel like, you know what I'm saying, some things happen because of situations surrounding him and the camp, you know what I'm saying, especially with when it come down to boxing and talking this boxing stuff. And all it took was a little bit of time for the I showed you so. I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I'm getting ready to start breaking down this clip from Keyshawn so that maybe people can learn from this in the future and they can learn how to be better fans of their fighters. See, the way I looked at Keyshawn, the way I've been looking at him is like, I was like, man, Keyshawn, he got the personality, he has the skills. It's just like, we don't like the moves. Like some of the moves, and we know some of it was matchmaking, but we didn't like the move. I'm not French, but I'm gonna say I didn't like the moves. I started not liking some of the moves. I said that he had the potential. He just need to do this, and that. You know what I'm saying? And he got it. Well, he had a debacle, and at the point in time when he had the debacle 2 months ago, he was saying, "Oh man, that people was acting like I was being too hard on him, or unfair criticisms and all of that." But it's like, no, man, I'm being the OG that everybody need. I'm the unk that everybody need around to say, nah, man, look, we put them all on the scales like, nah, because when it came down to Tank, it's no holds barred. So we can't even fairly assess what's going on with this guy. So let me break it down. Let me play this. Because all it takes is a matter of time. And see, this is where your fighter will actually make you look bad if you doing some of this right here. If you're doing this is when your fighter come back and he make you look like you like these. You like attending these sausage parties. See, this is when your favorite fighter actually make it look like when you show up to cookout, you ain't asking for no ribs, you ain't asking for no chicken. All you want is a foot long, a can of weenies, a quarter pounder, a half smoke, you know what I'm saying? No buns. That's what you want. But because this is intellectual property, I gotta put this, man. I'm calling fair use for playing this. So let me get into it now.
You know what I'm saying? Give me the minute. You know what I'm saying? Hey Zay, I'm not gonna have flashy stuff. But look, man, it's been a long time coming. Like, I just want to start with the situation, of course. You know, I want to start with the situation, of course. You know, June 7th.
June 7th.
The jump. I'm gonna try not to cuss, but the situation messed me up so much. It damn near took me 2 months to get back on live. It's August 1st. That joint happened June 7th. Like, and I felt some type of way when the people was just like, I don't really care, because like, that's not true. Like, after that situation had happened, bro, like, you know, I was really never right ever since, you know, and I had to start like really like leaning on my family and leaning on God's word and, you know, leaning on the people that really love me, because like I was like just not myself. And
okay, so that's the first admission. He was not himself. So all them time when I was saying, nah, man, he need to chill. It's like, nah. And all of the OnlyFans, the throat coat spreads, the knee pad wearers were saying, nah, man, that's just cause you a Tank dude. Nah. He's coming around and telling you he was not himself. That's why in real time, when they not acting right, you need to check them. Why? He had to go back to his family to get the truth. He had to go back to his family and hear from his family and be around people that he said loved him or whatever. Why? Because his fans wasn't keeping in the buck with him.
Just reflecting on that night, man, it was super wrong. It wasn't right for what I did. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't right at all. Me make a weight.
That was maturity. He's showing maturity. But listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he say now.
Wasn't right. It was a lot of stuff that I was doing that week that was off camera that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? Like fighter meetings. I had fighter meetings that I was snapping the fighter meetings, and that wasn't right. And I apologize to the person that I did snap in the fighter meeting. I hope somebody screen recording this. But I apologize. I'm apologizing right now to the person that I snapped on in the fighters meeting.
So that was Tim Bradley. That was Tim Bradley. He snapped on Tim Bradley in the fighters meeting because Tim Bradley came out and talked about it. So he apologizing. He wasn't right in the fighters meeting. He said he was doing stuff that wasn't right all week.
Apologize, bro, and hopefully, you know, we can come face to face one day. We have a man to man. But I apologize to you, and you know who I'm talking about. Apologize to my family, you know. I feel like I just let everybody down. Like, ever since that situation had happened, I just see and I just hear a lot of things that got set back because of me. You know what I'm saying? And that shit's just not an easy pill to swallow.
That's what I was saying. That's why the title says. That's why the title says Virginia's next big boxing star just got the wake up call he needed. He needed a bounce back as order, and it says that Keyshawn's career flashed before his eyes. Like, you know, if you ever been in a situation where you've been driving and you see almost like some Final Destinations type stuff, and you like, whoa, that could have been, whoo, like the wake up call that he just got was the magnitude of which in the backing that he had. It was like in this era for Top Rank to get behind somebody like that because Shakur didn't have this backing. If we're gonna be honest, they supported Shakur and they liked him and they knew his talent, but they didn't back him. He didn't get the same. It was a different level of backing that Keyshawn Davis was getting, to where they was letting him pretty much be the businessman. They was pretty much letting him call his own thing, and you know, and he was on an epic meteoric rise. They was matchmaking him. They set him up like nice, and he had like carte blanche basically. You know what I'm saying? So what he just saw, he said, I guess when he had time to kind of decompress and like really analyze what just happened, like the money that was lost, like the fact that the mayor was out there, he had Mike Vick, he had AI, he had all of this stuff, he had the whole shebang, like everything that happened, like to like have it fall short like that. He just got like a wake up call of a lifetime, which for a young man in his of his stature and with his talent and his abilities, he could definitely bounce back. But that was much needed. Let me let him go. Let me let him go on.
It took me a long time to really just confront this stuff, and with all that stuff that happened, you know, it takes more than a week or two to just come back and apologize. I really wanted to like wait so y'all can really like feel me, you know what I'm saying? But missing weight, I'm professional, and I see why y'all was saying like I didn't care. Because after I missed the weight, like my facial expressions looked like it didn't care. My body language looked like it didn't care. Like just everything about me looked like it didn't care. But what y'all don't know about me is I come from a lot. And when you come from a lot, you learn how to build a shield up so nobody can never even know, like, nobody can know, like, that's fucking with you. Like, y'all don't even know, like, before, I knew I wasn't going to make the weight before I stepped on the scale.
I knew I wasn't gonna make the weight before I stepped on the scale. So when your boy was saying, man, that had to be intentional, and people were saying, oh man, you just overboard, thinking that you just hating on the camp, the fighter himself comes out and tell you.
Yep, been there with that, bro.
I knew I wasn't gonna make the weight before I even went to weight.
He knew he wasn't gonna make the weight before he even went to weigh in. So when I was saying that Bo Mac and him and everybody had the new, Keyshawn wasn't the only one. But when you got a sausage in your mouth and all you see is beanie weenies and Franks and footlongs, you can't even see the forest for the trees when it comes to some of these people.
I'm fucked up, like, but I can't show y'all that, cause like all y'all looking at me like, oh, like this. So if I show y'all like something is wrong with me, like then the energy in the room will switch. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I've learned how to build a shield up to always be the businessman, always be like positive and happy and all that shit. But now, like I'm not doing that no more because I won't do nothing but hurting myself. You know what I'm saying? That
Maturity. He's not doing that no more. He's not putting on no front no more. That's maturity. That's why I appreciate him coming out and doing this.
like again, like when I missed the weight, I ain't show no expression because I just learned how to not show expression. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, our waitress coming. But look though, like I really want y'all to genuinely know, like I was super wrong for everything that happened. And I ain't feel like it was right for me to like wait a week and then come back with an apology. Like everything I'm saying right now, I ain't no goddamn excuse. Ain't no telling y'all what really happened. What y'all want to know, I'm telling y'all what really was going on. And I was snapping on everybody in camp. I was snapping on everybody during the fight week. I snapped on Abdullah on camera. I was snapping on everybody.
Snapped on Abdullah on camera. But in real time, when I was saying, nah, man, I ain't like that. That wasn't right. Oh, man, there you go. You hating.
You know what I'm saying? And this ain't no excuse. I'm just telling y'all what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on live right now saying I messed up. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm back though. I'm back. I'm better. I'm healthy. For the stuff that happened that night, saying that, you know, DB3 supposedly had bank people and all that, like that shit was cap. DB3 did not make nobody. DB3 ain't put our hands on nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no love lost for the Philly boys. No love lost for the Philly boys at all. Like even for them carrying it that way. Honestly, that shit was smart. If you want my honest opinion, that shit was smart. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I should have walked in his locker room. But nobody got banked and nobody got touched. You know what I'm saying? All that got blown out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit didn't happen at all. Like,
now I still question that, man. I mean, I don't think he's going to admit no guilt in that, which kind of smart. That's kind of smart. I mean, so that's the only part that I'm like, you know what I'm saying? That doohickey that he had on his forehead was doohickying. You know what I'm saying? Like it had a little extra doohickiness to it after the fight. You know what I'm saying? We didn't see, you know what I'm saying? Like Kelvin didn't do that to him. You know, so I question that, but I'm not gonna go hard on that. But
real. You know what I'm saying? So no love lost from the Philly boys. Y'all did a great job promoting. You know, yourselves and leading up to the fight. Y'all did a hell of a job promoting yourselves and putting Philly out there. Y'all did a hell of a job. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't do nothing wrong coming to Norfolk. You know what I'm saying? You went out there for the hell of a fight at the end of the day. Him versus my brother was a hell of a fight at the end of the day. You know, we just brothers, so we more emotional into that shit. But that was a hell of a fight at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That shit went down to the wire. You know? And you know, we didn't get the decision that night. But you live, you learn, you get better, you grow from stuff. And for the kids that's watching this right now, like, I was wrong. And I acted like a kid that night, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't take a loss. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of people in our camp. I'm not gonna mention it, but not a lot of people, but other people in our camp took losses too. And I'm seeing how they go about things and all that stuff. And I'm like, damn, why the hell I can't do that? Like, I don't know, but you know, you live and you learn. For the kids watching this, man, learn from my mistakes. you know, like my mistake was public, and definitely tough pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? So just learn from my mistakes, man. Don't do what I do. Right now, like I'm in a position where, as far as like my career and stuff like that, y'all keep asking me like, what's next? Y'all keep asking me like 140. Y'all keep asking me like 135. Bro, at this point, I'm damn near retired. At this point, I don't hear nothing from nothing. I ain't hearing nothing. Like, I'm damn near retired. So y'all keep saying, when the businessman gonna come back? When Keyshawn, you good? Yes, Keyshawn is good. Keyshawn great. I got a great support system. But boxing right now, you might as well call me like kind of like.
See, and I can't say, I don't think he retired, man. I think that it feels like that as a boxer, because you gotta think, man, like I don't know if anybody out there ever like messed up something where it's like you was getting ready to get a bag, and like right before you got the bag, you messed the bag totally up, so you didn't get that bag, but you might have been counting your chickens before they hatched, and then like you don't know what in the world gonna go on. You don't know, like I ain't hearing nothing, like almost like on Paid in Full, like, man, they still gonna love me, you know what I'm saying? They still gonna love me if I ain't out there, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going through that, but you hear that little high pitched voice, that little like right now, like he's trying to play it off like with his face and keep his composure, but it got real. And Top Rank and whatever, they probably making him sweat a little bit. They not gonna let this talented young man. They not gonna let him make him out of wayside.
They gonna make that young man sweat bullets. If you think you sweating right now, wait till 6 more months down the road, and they ain't calling you back, and they ain't doing nothing. You feel what I'm saying? And when you try to have your lawyer reach out, your lawyer will be like, they said they'll get back to me. So at the end of the day, like, you know, kudos to him for coming out his face and explaining the situation. I think the most impactful part out of everything, the thing that really, really matters, I mean, probably for me, always thinking about the public's eye and perception is reality type shit. When he brought up the kids, that's the most impactful thing, because at the end of the day, he's trying to establish himself, you know, even if it's just dealing with his own home community and him trying to start the gym and everything else that he's been trying to do as far as Norfolk and everything. You know, you have to address those young minds because they saw what they saw, and no one can unsee that. So, you know, to me, that was the most impactful thing. The thing that where he played a word game, and that means he actually thought this out. You feel what I'm saying? He said, when I went into his locker room, you know, no hands was put on that man. No hands. And you double down on being specific about hands. But old boy said you headbutted him. And I could see you headbutting him because I've headbutted a couple of, you know, dudes that, you know, I'm like, I really don't want to knock you out, bro, but boop, whole list, nigga, to let you know I will put hands on you. So shut the fuck up, type shit. So, you know, I could see a little, you know, headbutt that he really did. And he was keeping it a buck. I ain't put no hands on that man. I didn't. Y'all take me to the hospital and put my hands under the purple light. I ain't put no hands on that man. Well, did you headbutt him? I mean, I was talking to him, and, you know, in the process of, you know, me jerking and being upset, I might have just had a slight little head clash. but I wouldn't call it a headbutt. You feel what I'm saying? So he chose his words wisely, and I give him credit for that. That was pretty slick. And for OG dude, I'm like, you know what? I could accept your apology because that low wordplay you did right there, I got to give you a couple of points for that.
Yeah. That's what he did. That's what that sound about, right?
You know, so, you know, I respect him. As far as him saying his career feels like he's retired. Yeah, this is what purgatory feels like. Me, I was about to take a chef's job at a steakhouse in like Midtown, like literally in the 50s. I forgot the name of the spot and everything, but it's over on 57th between 5th and 6th. You feel what I'm saying? So I get the gig, and I never really paid attention to the steakhouse, and you know, whether it was, you know, famous or not. It was just a cook that was working up under me called me up, and he was like, "Hey chef, are you busy at any restaurants right now?" He said, because they just fired the chef at the steakhouse I work at. So long story short, I get the job and everything. They offer me a good ass salary. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a, you know, 6-figure salary. You know what I'm saying? And if I pull in X amount of money per quarter, then I get a bonus. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. I'm about to, you know, take my bike out the shop, pull my car out to jump off, and, you know, really put that on the road again. I may even sell it and see if I could get this truck that I've always wanted. Bruh, I fuck around and get arrested. Yeah. I got arrested because I went to a bar, got into an argument with this chick at first, and then dude came over and he, you know, I guess wanted to play whatever with the girl, and we started arguing over my change because the bartender put my change, and I was talking to one of my homeboys and she put the change down, and I said, yeah, I got it. So I'm turning and I see old girl reaching, just take my money, and I'm like, shorty, what are you doing? So I snatched the $5 back from her. You feel what I'm saying? And she's like, no, that's my money. I'm like, bitch, if you don't get the fuck away from me, I swear to God, you're about to get knocked out. I don't play games like that. Now go on, shorty. Seriously, get the fuck away from me now. So some dude was over there, and he was like, yo, how you gonna talk to a female like that? Blah, blah, blah. See, it's the problem. I'm like, bro, get your whatever. Me and him get into it. I get arrested. I have to be there pretty much the whole weekend, and I believe the weekend fell on a holiday, like Memorial Day or late. It was definitely the end of the summer, whatever that holiday is at the end of the summer. So I'm pretty much down for 5.5 days. I was supposed to start the job that Sunday. It was a no show, no call, no nothing. Yeah, so I know how it feels. And then for me, it was just like, it was such a hard pill to swallow that I didn't even want to try to go after another job like that. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, God, how did I fuck that up? Why did I let that goofy ass dude pull me into that nonsense? And the caveat to the whole thing is, old boy was an off-duty correction officer. He worked in the courts. So I was like, God damn, bruh. And the case took me like a year and a half to get around. Like went to court for that bullshit for a whole year and a half. The Germans like a motherfucker. They trying to lock me up and all kind of crazy shit. But you know, I can definitely sympathize with him and empathize with him when it comes down to, you know, you do something real stupid and then it feels like your whole world is gone.
Yeah, I kind of think. I think to a certain extent, I think the powers that be probably told him, like, listen, man, we can't say when. We ain't done with you. We just disappointed in you. But trust me, this ain't the end of the road, kid. You know, I mean, I think they probably told him that, and so it's just like, yeah, just don't do nothing stupid. You know what I'm saying? Still reflect, keep your nose clean, stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? Just stay focused, man, and you know, let this be a reminder as to how everything can go from sugar to like real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
And for Keyshawn, man, look, I'm gonna say this. Key has star power, and he has skills. He has the personality. He's been fighting all his life, and people like him. Like Keyshawn is a likable guy,
very likable.
When it comes down to boxing, just like when we put all these boxers on the scales, man, some of these fans out here gotta realize that Keyshawn just told you, if you're not keeping it real with your favorite fighter and you're not keeping it real with the camp or whatever, this is what happens. Like, this is the same thing that I saw when it came down to Teofimo Lopez. Yeah. And I was like, as big of a fan I was of Teofimo Lopez, in the way that he started going and things he started doing, it's like I can't get with it. It's like it's the same thing going on with Shakur. It's like that don't mean that I don't like these guys no more. It's just like no. As a slightly older than him, you know, slightly older than him, it's like we have a right, I guess, to basically keep it a buck on them, man. Like if they not doing something right, we should hold them accountable and say, nah, because at the end of the day, when we don't, you're gonna look stupid. Like when he come out and he say all the things that you as an only fan, you're gonna look stupid.
Yeah.
Like, because you look stupid because you still dying on that hill, you know, I'm ride or die, I'm whatever. Like, no, you a sausage party guy, and you also will have a double standard because you can't be sitting up here cooking all these other fighters, but then when your fighter do some stuff like what he was doing, you don't want to have no accountability yourself. Yeah. You know, so let this be a lesson to say that, look, man, don't turn other fans off because I'm a Keyshawn fan. I'm just not an only fan. Yeah, definitely. And I'm not at the point with Keyshawn that I am with Shakur and Tio and them. Like, I'm not at that point with Keyshawn. It's too early for me to even get to that point. Like with them, I'm like, they already know what they're doing. They doing fan manipulation. They plan to whatever role they don't care because I mean I don't know if they having a crisis. I don't know what's going on with them. Keyshawn, he made this big mistake. It was a doozy. Yeah, but it's early for him. I'm sorry, but it's early for him, and I haven't thrown him away like that. Like I actually like I appreciate him coming out and addressing all of that and saying it now. Yeah, now it's still that 20% to where it's like, you know, is it all the way gone? I don't think so, because one thing about this is this one of them things to where it's just like when your windshield wipers are bad. You're like, if you don't change them right then and there, that you don't realize that they're still bad or they not working until it rain again and you go to use them and then you're like, dang, I still got that problem. Like, so until it rain again, until it's another storm, we're not gonna know if Keyshawn fully embraced this whole experience. It's like how Tank had to drag his knuckles against the concrete a couple times, and some of those things are still lingering. The last thing was that was that thing he dealt with when he had to go sit down for a little while. And he got these. I think this new stuff. I think this stuff is like something different from that. But like,
Yeah.
when he finally stopped dragging his knuckles across the pavement, it was still repercussions 2 and 3 years later. This is what I don't want Keyshawn to do. And as a fan of your fighter, you need to nip it in the bud and speak to it in real time when it's happening, so that he know, like, oh man, everybody ain't gonna ride with me like that. Like, oh yeah, they speaking some truth to me. They speaking some common sense to me. But go ahead.
When I break down just the whole timeline of Keyshawn's career at Top Rank, we're hyper focused on this situation, but we have to remember there was a previous situation. So part of me was like, yeah, I could probably expect to see Keyshawn early next year. Maybe it might be later. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe they're gonna sit down and talk to Keyshawn and be like, look, you had the weed situation, then you impressed everybody because you cut that out, and then you went on this tirade. You feel what I'm saying? You were looking very impressive in your fights and things like that. Although those of us who know, those were the match-made fights and shit like that, then this situation happens. When you look at this situation as the situation really is, missing weight, other fighters have missed weight, and then we saw them, pretty much come back in the ring pretty fast. The situation of him going after the guy who beat his brother, when you look at it as a totality, both situations are unprofessional, but there's no way if they were held in a vacuum, I would expect to see Keyshawn back the end of the year, early next year. But compound both of the situations, I'm probably thinking maybe late spring, early summer next year, we'll see Keyshawn. But he's going to have to, sit some time out and, kind of convince the suits. Because where Top Rank is, they're in transition and they don't have the money or the time to be fucking around with situations like this. And I hope this type of situation reaches him, because I'm telling you what they'll probably tell you in a much, much nicer way. They do not have time and the resources moving forward for any of this kind of stupid shit. So if you want DB3 to be about something, you want yourself to have a career, then at the end of the day, you got to seriously get your shit together. Put yourself in a bubble. Limit the amount of people that are around you. If it's something that you need some sort of counselor or whatever to see you every once in a while, we could set that up, and no one has to know that, because that'll be part of your own HEPA rights. But at the end of the day, the company moving forward cannot afford no more fuck-ups like this. Not from someone that they want to put money in and put money in your pocket. So with that being said, I just wanted to establish this other thing. I've been thinking about certain things, and this is a bit off the topic about Unk and OG. Like, when is that really established? And I think if you reach 40, and you a stand-up dude, you official Unk status. 40 on. OG status is 50. You gotta hit 50. 50 plus, you definitely OG status. So that's the stake in the ground. We put in a real age type thing to it. Other than that, you just a dude that I know. You feel me? If you 39, you just a dude. You feel me? Youngin can call you big bro or whatever, but you ain't quite you're not there yet for Unk status. So that's where I'm gonna call it, and that's where I'm gonna land my plane on that.
Yeah, I could appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not OG status yet. I'm only 44. I'm about to be 45 at the end of this year, so I'm like right there at Unk, probably about Unk level.
You at Unk
Yeah.
Prime. You
Huh?
at Prime Unk, where the knowledge starts to get deep and profound.
What's up, Jose Rodriguez? What's good? Bodywork, you are champion without the belt. I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, as far as Keyshawn, man, this is what I want to say to Keyshawn. It's like, you know, Top Rank had a guy named Felix Verdejo. Felix Verdejo. I don't know if y'all remember Felix Verdejo, but you talking about crashing out? Like, that was the ultimate crash out. That's the one who clapped his side chick because she was you know, with child.
Oh yeah.
And you know, that's the ultimate. But see, the thing is with Key, man, it's like it's one of those things to where it's like, I'm not gonna say quite like Obama, because Obama, he wasn't. They played a game as far like image wise, it was good for people who look like me and you, right? That was a good imagery. But like, if he would have done like a horrible job, and they would have looked at him and said, "See, now that's why none of you all are going to get in that office again." So with the kind of backing that Keyshawn got, he could have made it to where it's like, you know what, this is why. Because I remember it was a time when T.O. was talking about MBF and how it was always this mantra that Top Rank didn't know how to promote, you know, black fighters and stuff like that. And here comes Keyshawn, where it's like, they had Bud, you know what I'm saying? He didn't get, I don't think Bud got promoted the way he could have, but then Bud got his own kind of personality too.
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't marketable.
Yeah, Keyshawn is more like Keyshawn embodied. He's more. He translates a little bit more to. He resonates with fans a little more. You just got that kind of personality, you know. So, they put a lot behind him, and the magnitude of where he had it. And for him to drop the ball the way, it wasn't a good look, but he could have made it to where they're not gonna do it again. The only thing is, you got somebody like Abdullah Mason. Like, if you didn't have a young Abdullah Mason, it might have been curtains for everybody over there, because Abdullah Mason, he kind of embodies, like, he might not have the what they call it, enigmatic personality like a Keyshawn, but it's there. Like, he still has
one name, bro.
He's still, you know, he's still young, but then you gotta think his background and like his disciplines are kind of different. So he's kind of trying to come out of his shell, and I think that's more of just a little bit more time. It's almost like how they perceive Tank, as far as like how he was quiet, like a little quiet and reserved, you know, and then boom, he's going to bloom into and have his little catchphrase and have his old, and just really don't be thinking about the questions and all of that. So the more frequently he do it, and you know, more times he get under his belt, he's gonna come into his own. But if it wasn't for somebody like Abdullah Mason to come in and save the day at the event, and to be the kind of personality he was, for them to hang it up, it might have been curtains for a minute for people who look like Keyshawn and Abdullah.
Now, but we missing one name in Top Rank that I think is going to inherit the Keyshawn David budget.
Who?
Beating on the storm. The catchphrase is already there. The poise is already there. The maturity is already there. All he got to do is beat the shit out of Devin or stop Devin. He got that bag. He that man. Top Rank is like the way that young man was raised, everything that he showed us. That's the one we put the money behind. We could still deal with DB3 and Abdullah Mason, but they're gonna have to understand that this is the B Norm. This is the B Norm show right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like yeah, man. But you know what's so, you know, it's this has been a saying that's been resonating all year. They say the last shall be first and the first shall be last, man. Like, and that's I'm seeing that more and more this year. It's like it's something profound about that saying, man. When they saying the last shall be first and the first will be last. You know what I'm saying? So I say let this be a wake up call because they said it was some incident. It was an incident when he was at, when he was in the Olympics and how he got sent away, and then the no contest with the Albright, and then you got this with the mayor in your city and just the whole debacle, and it was just like a nightmare. I know he probably got up like on some whole like I used to get tore down or tore out the frame, and you be like, hold on, I did what? And somebody be telling you like, yeah, you remember
You was wild
like,
inside.
oh man, I did
wasn't.
Oh man, it's just one of those things. But the good thing is, man, I put 40 proof because when it comes down to the proof, that really speaks to the potency of the alcohol. And I think that Keyshawn, to a certain extent, was a little drunk on his own stuff. Like he was a little high. He can bounce back. See, my debacle was when I was over there in Korea. I was an E5 promoter. I went over there. I did 4 years. I was over there in El Paso. I did 4 years. And I signed up to go to Korea for 18 months. By the time I left El Paso, Texas, Fort Bliss, and got over there to Korea, I was already E5 promotable. I was just waiting on the points. I was I was in college. I was just waiting on my points to hit, and I would have been an E6. I'd have been an E6 in 5 years. That's how fast I was tracking. A little over 5 years. If I would have been right at the cusp. And I got a DUI. I almost murked myself, man. I hit one of them columns over there, and that was my like, you talking about life literally flashing before your eyes, but being a young person, that's why I say I can relate to being young and just being high on your own, like being high off of just being out there and being young and just experiencing life in the world and just thinking you grown. I can relate. So I wouldn't be here. Like if I didn't get through that crash and I didn't, walk away. I don't know how I walked away from it, because if I showed you pictures of that car, you'd be like, how the hell did they had to use the jaws of life to cut me out of it? That thing was like, it was a Honda Excel. And
wow.
It was and like I don't even know, when I look at the picture, I'm like, I don't know how I survived it. I don't know. All I had was like a small little blood clot in my eye. I had a scar on my neck, and if I shave my beard all the way down, it's a scar like on the side of my cheek that you can see, like by my jawline that you can see, but you can't really see it as I got a beard. Like that's all, and I got like a little something like right between my eyes. It didn't fade it, but the little, like if you really look at my neck, you can see my neck. It's a scar on my neck, but it's over the years it done faded and faded and faded, so it's not there. But like I made my mistake. See, he didn't. This wasn't like my message to Keyshawn is like, this wasn't like, this didn't endanger your life. This made you like take a deep on your legacy, like on your livelihood. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, take this experience, learn from it, don't forget it, because this is boxing, and it's in anything, even in rap, in singing, in basketball, in football. There's never a lack of talent. You just got put on notice that, okay, you couldn't make it. Abdullah hopped in your spot and took over your show in your hometown and took, might have gained fans, got the stoppage, did all of that. So it's never a lack of talent. The thing is, it's something like what Charles Barkley said. Charles Barkley said, man, the chances are going to be few and far in between for us. So when you get put in these positions where they cater to you and they put you on this pedestal and they put you in that light, don't take it for granted. And if you use that as fuel to say, you know what, I gotta cross all my T's, I gotta dot all my I's, I gotta go extra hard. Even your little wake up call, your little weight thing, like get in your weight class that you're gonna campaign in, and just do your thing. But you can come back from it, man. I'm proud of Keyshawn for actually doing that, and you got fans that are going to ride with you up until the point to where it's like you doing what all the other knuckleheads are going to do, and then we're going to get off.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because we want we want the sport to sustain itself, and I'm not going to be like I'm not jacking no BS, man. I'm not
Let
jacking.
me ask you this question before we get to Jose Rodriguez's question. It's about Bud's resume, but just real fast. I've always felt that I didn't really like the talk of Keyshawn going to 140. I figured just if you're gonna go to 40, just make it a quick pit stop. If you could snatch up a belt, snatch up a belt, but settle in at 47. I think for me, I've always felt to a certain degree that the strongest, best Keyshawn we see that will prove himself to be the great boxer he is really at 47. Although right now 40 is looking crazy. 40 got a hell of a lot of smoke right there. But I think I'd like to see him at 47. What do you think? What weight you think he should make his comeback at when he makes his comeback?
I mean, I like to see him at 40 just because that's what he should have been. I like to see him at 40 because I think at 47, I gotta go back to Jihad.
Okay.
The fact that he moved up and he got up there where he was supposed to be early on, it was challenging because them guys is people that can thump. Like you could be less skilled, but be naturally stronger, longer, taller, and you would be more of on an even playing field with somebody that had more skills than you, just because you can take their punches. Like you can take, you know what I'm saying? Your punch resistance is there, and you're used to actually doing it. You're used to performing, and so I would like to see him at 40, even though I don't want him to stay there because if I look forward, it's gonna be one of them things where eventually Shakur gonna be at 40. I don't think he's gonna stay at 35. And it's gonna be one of them things where it's like, oh, are y'all gonna play, BFF games again at 40? 47 would actually show you what you really got. Plus, that's the glamour division with a personality like that, and you gotta dig down and show what's in your bag. If you get up there and get settled in, shoot, you got the qualities to where you got the qualities, the star qualities for the glamour division to be able to do your thing.
Yeah.
You have the qualities now if you're willing to dig down and do it. But ultimately, some of it's like a little selfishness for me because I still want to see him and Frank Martin. And that's getting spicy. Like Frank Martin just said he'd knock his in the dirt.
Yeah, Frank Martin was getting chippy. I was like, whoa, okay, Frank. I like that energy, bro. To answer Jose's answer, I'm not going to say Bud's resume is super stellar, but it's a solid resume that kind of matches what he's done because when you look at the Gamboa fight, a lot of people want to take that fight away from him because they want to live on the hindsight of Gamboa after the loss, but Gamboa wasn't at that time. He wasn't regarded as a hype job. He was talked about as a pound for pound guy. He was highly sought after by Floyd Mayweather and 50. There was some battle over them, and Bud went in there as the underdog and beat him. His run at 40 was a decent, respectable run. People question whether or not he should have stayed at 40 to deal with, I forgot who it was as his mandatory and stuff like that. I think that, would have, if he stayed for that fight and negotiated that fight and not let the IBF strip him, I think that would have settled a lot of the negative talking points. Not all of them, but a lot of it. And he's got the man at 47, Errol Spence, on his resume. I mean, it's a solid resume. It's not the type of thing that I'm going to compare to the level of opponents that a Ray Leonard fought, or Miguel Cotto or somebody like that. But it's solid for this era in boxing. It's solid.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna answer Jose's question in two. I'm gonna answer Jose's question in two different ways. I just saw this when it came down to Keyshawn. Some time went by, and the way the articles and the way people are actually talking about Keyshawn, they talk about the debacle, and then they say, well, with questionable level of talent. But see, in real time, they was actually acting like Keyshawn beat the world by beating the people that he beat to get the title. Now he did get it fast, but they kind of do the same thing a little bit with Bud. So I put it like this: Bud has the accolades. It's just like Devin. It's like how Devin got undisputed, and how he do have he got Loma on his record. He got Jojo Diaz. He got Linares. He got some names. But like when you look at the climate and you look at what was going on and who was who in the divisions when they were in there, I mean, it's a lot of things that people don't like pointing out. And when you point them out, they just say, "Oh man, you at the end of the day, you just an heterosexual, so you just gonna look at it like that." Like I could say that it was a time when Regis and AB was down there with Bud. He didn't fight neither one of them. Like I could say that at a point in time when he chose to fight Igas Kavanakis, he could have fought what's his name, Ray Robinson, and they got a history they got a past. I could say that he didn't fight Ugas, even though who would question whether or not he could beat Ugas. It's just that they didn't have him on the radar. And Bomac said that Ugas was a tough out. Then this was before, like, it's a lot of names that he could have fought or that he was around. And then the timing of when he fought these guys, you got to think almost the whole run at 47, aside from Jeff Horn, those guys had already been beat multiple times. Like, Amir Khan had already been knocked out. They knocked Kell Brook for getting his eye socket broken when he fought Earl, but then Earl broke the other one, and then he had been out of the weight class for like 3 years before he came back, and when Bud finally fought him, they didn't even let his manager come. The deal was he could go do the fight, but he couldn't even have his trainer with him. He couldn't, like Amir Khan. Danny Garcia had already knocked him out. Canelo had already knocked him out. He didn't fight Danny. He didn't fight Thurman. Now, the politics between whether they won the fight or who, all this, is like, you can look at it both ways. It's the same thing that happened with Top Rank as far as having all of the belts at 35. It's like Bud could say that them guys didn't want to fight him, but then he also said he was just fighting who they put in front of him. So it's like, it's one of them things to where you kind of got to look at it both ways. Were there opportunities where he could have fought somebody? Because you also had Bob Arum saying that Bud was a sucker for the straight right hand. And he was like, we got fighters for him to fight, but he didn't want to fight him. Like, Bob was on record saying that. So it's like, and then he said it was matches that was there that he wanted to do. Like, at the end of the day, when it came down to the Manny Pacquiao fight, when I asked the question as to why that fight didn't happen, I could go back on record and pull up film where Bomac is saying that they didn't want the fight because they didn't think the money was there. It's like, well, Manny Pacquiao done fought everybody, bro. So why would you question whether or not the money was there? So accolades, he got undisputed twice. What's going to happen at the end of the day is they're going to judge Bud. And this is what a lot of people don't like. They ain't gonna want to hear. They're gonna judge Bud based on this Canelo fight. If he go out there and he do the unthinkable, he's gonna be the best thing sliced bread since sliced bread. If he go up there and he loses by any chance,
his entire resume is in question.
They're gonna call his entire resume to the red carpet, and that's just the brutal. That's how boxing is. It's just like Bud himself saying that Errol Spence wasn't shit, but that's the thing that catapulted him to stardom.
Yeah,
like. That's how boxing is. They're gonna call they call Earl. They saying what was Earl this, and they question whether Earl's like what.
And that's
like,
why
one loss is like that's how boxing is. Like, but they don't question. Nobody question Earl's resume. They don't really question his resume. Like,
no, but this is why I said, me being a heavy Bud fan, I was like, look, I think his resume is solid. That's where I'll leave it. I'm not gonna say it's crazy impressive. I'm not gonna say, a lot of stuff, because there were fights that I thought he was gonna I thought he was gonna take, and stuff like that, but he didn't take those fights. I do remember, Bob saying the things he was saying, and I remember, early on the early days of YouTube, when you could just really comment in the in the in the comment section and everything. I can remember reading people mentioning off like 5 and 6 fighters, but could have fought at 140, stayed at 140 and fought. They would mention a hell of a lot of fighters that he could have fought at 47. So at the end of the day, for me, his resume is solid. That's where I'm gonna. That's where I try to leave it. Yes, there are a lot of questionable movements of Bud. Yeah, but you'll kind of find that with many different fighters. Several fighters out there, they come into the game, they say this is what they're gonna do, and they actually do it. But yeah, I do believe that his entire career, everything he's ever done, is actually going to be predicated on this Canelo fight. If he goes in there and he beats Canelo, and he beats him impressively, between what the Turk is going to do and everybody else is going to do, certain heavy Bud favorite channels, don't even bother to go over there if you had a whatever critique you had about the fight, because all you gonna get is oh man, look at it, see, oh man, see, oh, and that's all you gonna get. So it is what it is.
Look, I think this what I think, man. But it's in some ways I feel sorry for Bud, and in some ways I don't. Some ways I feel sorry for him because it's like it's one of them things to where either way the man was playing chess. It's like it's the same way, it's almost like how they look at Devin, like the way that people talk about Devin and how he maneuvered with having the names and the timing and when he fought these guys, and because he was able to get out of there with the victory, it's like, well, he got the names and he got the accolades. So it's like, what can you say? But it's like when you looking at it in real time, and like right now in the way we looking at Boots, because in real time we know what's going on, and we've been pegging it, and we've been keeping track of it and following the bouncing ball all along. Like the only thing that's going to make it make sense was like how he, like when he went ahead and got the Stan Giannis fight, and he got that, like when he stepped that right there, that kind of like wiped away that we had two Albanesians and we had two Karens and an Albanesian, and the fact that it was all these 40s moving up, it was like that was the stamp. It's like Bud did that, but he did it on a couple different levels, to where it's like since he got undisputed at 40, he moved up and fought a champion, and ultimately got undisputed at 47. That washed away a multitude of sins. And when he moved up again at 54 and got a belt, that washed away a multitude of sins. And so if he jump up 2 classes and he snuff out Canelo, that's gonna wipe away a multitude of sin, because at the end of the day, he's playing chess. It's like like at the end of the day, it's gonna be a hindsight thing, because in hindsight, he got the escalades and he has the feats to match it. You see what I'm saying? So, but if he falls short, they're gonna be like, oh man, like all of the truth, because they do it to everybody. Like they just did it to Berlanga. Like when you finally lose, when you meet your best, when you at it, they're gonna really like scrutinize what you were able to do and hold you up to the light. Outside of it, they're gonna play the game, because it's a media thing where it's like, man, if I say something wrong about them, I'm gonna get ostracized over here. If I say this wrong, or if I don't do this right, if I don't say this right, then they not gonna be messing with me over here. Then I'm gonna lose credit with this channel, and this person ain't gonna want to associate. People play that game, but when you lose, they gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah.
So it's a lot riding on this fight because look, I've been saying the same thing about him and I was like, man, they need each other at this point. Like I say, man, I see, quiet as kept. If it wasn't for all the messy stuff going on, these two need each other to validate themselves right now, because for the last couple of years, we ain't been liking the way Canelo been moving.
Yeah, and that's the second half of what I was going to bring in, because at the end of the day, boxing is entertainment. It's a sport that is entertainment. You feel what I'm saying? You got to have eyes on it for it to be profitable. If you know how to play the game, then you become a fan of the guy that's the best player of the game. Michael Jordan plays basketball, but he's also a professional basketball player. So he knows how to play the game. How does he know how to play the game? Okay, we down by 5. I could go for a 3-pointer, or I could basically slip the guy that they got defending me and then go to the weakest defensive dude and have him foul me while I'm attempting to take my shot. Automatic 3 points because I'm a 90% free throw shooter. That's pretty much 3 points in the bag. Now we down by 2. If I get to steal and bury the bucket, you feel what I'm saying? Now it's a tie game. He knew how to play the game. Devin Haney came into the game knowing how to play the game. His pops knew how to play the game. You feel what I'm saying? He was like, just relax, son. We gonna hit these gyms. We're gonna get these named trainers under your belt. So now we're gonna say, yeah, Devin Haney was trained by all the best trainers. And then we're gonna go strategically go after fighters. Yeah, Devin Haney was trained by all the best trainers, and then he went after all the biggest names in boxing. Yeah, Devin Haney, the realest. He the realest motherfucker out there. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what the Haney heads will say. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? But me looking in, knowing how to play the game, I gave you respect for that. I was like, oh shit, youngin coming in playing the game. I couldn't fuck with that. Let's see how long you can play the game before you dealt that losing hand.
Yeah, and Jose, I don't believe that. Like I was asking somebody that. And I don't believe that, bro. Like if he do, I gotta give him real respect. Like if he beat Canelo, they were saying if he beat Canelo, he'll be top 3 all time. I'm like, I can't say that, bro. I would not be able to say that, bro, because Floyd already did that. Like Floyd did that. Like I couldn't say that, bro. I'll give him mad respect if he do that. Especially if he really dusts Canelo off, I'll give Bud mad props for that. But I can't say top 3 all time, bro. I'm not.
The only way there could be a plausible, semi-believable argument for me is if he stops him. You did the unthinkable.
If he knock his in the dirt like he did Earl, okay. I mean, he'll have an argument. It's like I'm not gonna get up there and debate nobody about it. I'm not gonna, like, they'll have an argument. You know what I'm saying? He will have an argument if he do that.
Yeah, because the other dude won't be able to just point out the main reason why you're making your argument and leave it at that without dwelling into the goofy shit that it's like, hold on. At that point, we can now dive into his resume. All right. If you're going to make that argument, then you got to bring up his resume. Now, if the person just wants to make up, and say, all right, listen, based on his performances, keep it only in the ring based on his performances, could you give him top 3 or top 5 of all time without all the other shit? And that's where my argument would be based on if he went in there and stopped Canelo, or he put on that type of performance that he put on with Errol Spence.
Arguably you could. Because he got some sensation. Like when you go back and you really look, like he got some performances where it's like, man, that dude showed He showed this in that fight. He showed this in that fight. Like the same thing that Roy Jones be saying about him. He's like, man, he saw him over time. And he saw him do different things and do something. He had a different strategy, and he was able to implement it to perfection in all of them. Like he might have got caught a couple times, you know what I'm saying, here and there, but like arguably, yes, you could. But look, this what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna wrap it up with this. This is what I'm gonna say. This is what it reminds me of. When people start, because in sports, it happens in every sport. Like they cannot salute and big up Kobe without putting down LeBron, or big up Mike without putting down LeBron, or put up LeBron without shitting on Kobe or something like. But this is what I want to say. This is what I'll say. When stuff like this happen and it circle around Bud, it makes me feel like when people like when they get too extra about what Kobe was able to do and they act like he did it all by himself. Now I know this is an individual sport, like right, but you got a team, you got coaches and all that, but it's really just you in the ring. But this is how it makes me feel when they make the argument like Kobe is just that much better because of the rings and the championships. And I'm like, hold on, man. He had Big Shot Bob, he had he had Robert Ory, he had Derek Fisher, he had Metta World Peace, he had Paul Gasol at one point in time, he had
Shaq at one point.
Yeah, he had Shaq. Like, so it's like and when you say that, it makes it seem as though you're hating on Kobe. Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not hating on Kobe. It's just like, no, I gotta remind you of the, and that's what happens when I get drawn into these Bud conversations. It's like when people try to make it seem like it was just this, it's like, well, hold on, man, that's not all the way right and exact, because this, that, and that. It's like, well, no, you just hating on Bud. It's like, no, I'm not hating on Kobe. I'm not hating on Bud. It's like, let's include it all. And then, because you gotta think, the year when the Orlando Magic, they had them dead to rights. They like Orlando Magic, they had Kobe, and they was done. If Van Gundy, which is Steve Van Gundy, if Steve Van Gundy would have had them foul Derek Fisher before he take that shot, Orlando Magic would have won.
Yeah.
People don't know that play. Go on to say that the Lakers was just, oh man, look at what they. It's like, no, because it's just like everything else. When you know the inside hardcore facts, like me, when it come down to Philly, I know the last time we had the weakest strength of schedule. Now it's 2 seasons because we had the weakest strength of schedule, so we barely got into the playoffs, right? But then when we got into the playoffs, our backup quarterback took us off to another level, and we wound up winning. But I don't deny that we had the weakest strength of schedule. Like, but I can do that. But we still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of analyst I am. I'm not gonna. I'll give everybody their kudos when they need it. And at the end of the day, in boxing, because you're a one-man band, and at the end of the day, it's chess, not checkers. I could hate that. Because I don't like when people are called a shrewd businessman. I don't like shrewd businessmen. But they say Bud's a shrewd businessman. It's like, I hate the fact that I don't think that that's a good quality. Like it is if you come out with as a businessman, when you get what you want, it's good.
Yeah.
But to do business with somebody that's a shrewd businessman, I don't like it. But can I knock it? He was able to get away. It's like, no, he played chess. He won the fight. You know what I'm saying? He looked prophetic because he said they're gonna say he was too weak. He looked prophetic. He was a shrewd businessman. He took everything. It's like, I don't like it as a businessman, but I gotta respect it because this is a one-man show and you was able to get away. Like, it ain't, what can they say?
Yeah, now I just wanted to end my take on Bud with this. I ran in circles where they super heavy Bud fans. Some of them because they have close relations to the gym. They're in his hometown and shit like that. And they think I'm changing about Bud, and I'm not. It's just now that you're coming to the end of your career, you feel what I'm saying? Now I get to take everything in a bubble. And when I speak on Terrence Crawford, I'm speaking on him as his entirety of his career. I'm just not going to be hyper-focused on one fight or one main event. You know, I'm going to look at his entire career, and then I'm going to make my assessment about his entire career. I was a heavy Wilder fan, and I used to let people know I have a bias because I met that man a couple of times, sat down and talked with him. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, when it came down to his career, I can be honest about how I feel about his career. After seeing his last fight, I don't think he should box anymore. You look like an amateur in that fight, and I don't know who the fuck was impressed with it.
But these people you talk about, they literally said, man, we thought he was a bud buddy. I was like, man, I thought that was just like how people say Earl sexual. It's like they really thought like that's a real thing. I said, hold on, that's a real thing. They thought AC. They were like, man, we thought AC was a bud buddy. Lou literally said that. He's like, man, we thought he was. I was like, man, do you hear yourself, bro?
Yeah.
Like they was like, man, we thought he was a bud. I was like, I thought he was just an objective boxing fan. I know Bud is one of his favorites, but see, they want like it's idolatry. I'm gonna tell you what it is. Like for some people, it's like people say what they want about Tank fan. They be like, oh man, that's a Tankamaniac. He is. I don't take Tank to idolatry level. It's not. Yeah. It's not idolatry. It's some of these people. When it comes to some of these boxers, it turned into idolatry. If you say one thing wrong, if you say one, it's like with Boots, it's like with Devin, it's like with Bud. I told y'all I called them the untouchables. It's some people, if you not all the way with it, if you not just down with any and everything that they say, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna say you hating. And I'm not. That's not the brand of fan I am.
Nah, me neither. Because I tell people, I've been a fan before Terrence Crawford started boxing, and I'll be a fan after Terrence Crawford starts boxing. So why would I put him on that idolized pedestal? If he goes in there and he puts on that type of, you know, remarkable performance that's gonna be memorable in history, where he did what no one else could do to Canelo Alvarez, I may find myself on the channel making that debate of not saying he's top three. I may stretch it just to pull out the emotional aspect of it of the other. Like, what? Look at this butt ass. Just get them all riled up, and I'll be sitting here laughing because what I'll be doing is intentional. I think he might make arguably top five, and if we're keeping it in the ring, what he was able to accomplish in his performances in the ring. I think that makes for a great debate when you look at other fights and their best win of their entire career and how they performed in that win. You feel what I'm saying?
He would be an ultimate closer, and I would say that it would be debatable. Like, if it's debatable, it would be debatable. You know what I'm saying? It's because there's some people say some stuff and it's just like, oh, it's no way, man. It's like I'm not even gonna waste my time. But it would be debatable, especially on how he
within those parameters.
How he do it, how he look, and how he do it. If he's able to do that, it would be debatable.
Yes,
it would be debatable. You know,
and that's where you can get an understanding of the type of fan that I am, of all the fighters that I do like. You know what I'm saying?
And then sometimes with you, AC, people don't realize that you just really be like messing with them, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know, they got a soft spot.
Definitely.
It's like I jam me, you know.
For real. If I know you can't block the straight right, every time I see you, I'm gonna throw a straight right at you. If you say some stupid shit, I'm gonna counter it with a straight right. Bah! Oh, you still can't block that punch? God damn, bro, take this one too. Bah! And hit you with another one. So, yeah, I do have my moments to whereas I just want to poke at you. You feel what I'm saying? Because I think it, you know, it's the type of thing that people will be like, oh, AC about to get on that Brooklyn bullshit. And that's how I was raised, being in the streets of Brooklyn. We poke at each other all day. You know, you lose a fight in front of your homies and niggas said, yeah, you get the one-on-one and you lose that. Oh, every time you like, shut up, bro, because you wasn't all that when that nigga was beating your ass, and that's our best friend. And he gets so mad now. He like, yo, I swear to God, tomorrow when we in the park, I'm gonna get that back. So yeah, that may be just some Brooklyn shit, or it may be the whole entire East Coast, bro. But I just know.
I think it's the East Coast. Is just, you know what I'm saying? It's just, especially with how the fragility of online, man. It's like it's so many people with so many agendas and all that. It's like, hey, now and again, you gotta do it like so people can really see, like think about themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like some people. I'm like, man, oh my god,
It's a
why y'all even
conversation.
online?
Stop taking yourself so serious.
Yeah, like it's entertainment at the end of the day, bro. You don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know these cats for real. For real, they wouldn't piss on us,
Bro.
if we was on fire. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real.
And, exactly. And just to keep it a beam, yes, there are motherfuckers that will piss me off, and there are people that will piss Body off. And you feel what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta tell a motherfucker what it actually is. You know what I'm saying? But you know, if the dude comes back the next day and it's just like, yeah, that was water under the bridge. I know I probably irked the shit out of y'all, but I'm back here again at it, and my opinion is my motherfucking opinion.
Yeah,
I can respect the shit out you then, homie.
yeah. That's just like out there, like when we used to play outside. Like shit, man, you might have been roughing the shit out. I might have had a tender ankle or something. You know what I'm saying? And you okay? You got yours off yesterday. We right back outside tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Coming right at, we doing this shit. It ain't no stopping. We going at it every day. You know, it's just the nature of it, man. So, but I appreciate you coming through, AC, man.
Yeah, for sure. Another great one, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna let a little time go by. I mean, I'm not gonna take that much time. But I gotta talk to you offline. It's just, man, so much stuff.
Bro, you and me both, man. I told you the last time. That's why I was like, did I tell Body I was supposed to call him a minute ago? You feel what I'm saying? Because, man, listen, I'm knee deep in just numbers, just crunching numbers all day, bro. Because shit is looking crazy right now.
Yeah, I got another contract. So I got another contract, man, and I think I'm about to start that. I'm about to start that in a couple of days. And I'm like a month. I think I'm coming up on a month. I ain't been smoking. So, and I'm coming up on the anniversary when I walked off the plantation. That's why I said I've been breaking barriers, bro. So it went from me working for me last August. I walked off the plantation. So I started working for myself last August. To me, I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. Then I started the business in the interim before that.
Okay.
And then I stopped smoking Black and Miles. So it's like I've just been breaking barrier after barrier after barrier.
Yeah, that's excellent.
You know, and just been getting more into and like I be getting these little things to where it's like I give you a quirky one. They say like this week I used my phone 3 hours and 39 minutes less than last week, and before that it was like an hour less. Like, so it's just I've been trying to get off of the phone, trying to put the phone down, trying to meditate more, trying to read more, like listen to more positive stuff. I don't even like, even with the box stuff, I listen to the little things here and there, but I'm not sitting around listening to some of the garbage that's out here right now. You know what I'm saying? I listen, but it's like I'm not gonna let that dominate my day. I gotta keep my finger on the pulse. But like, I've been on some growth stuff, man. Cause
same here, bro. Like I watched a whole 5-part series on cognitive dissonance.
For real, send me the link on that, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, wow. And you know, when you watch it and you really understand what it is, you'll realize that, you know, everyone has their own forms of cognitive dissonance, because it's that, but the thing that makes it that is the moral dissidents and the ethical dissidents. And he said, you know, when you look at it, everybody every day has to come to grips with some sort of moral or ethical dissidence that they have. And if you're striving to be that better person, these are things that are always going to be on your forefront to say, you know, this is, I'm going to be more aware to really recognize the cognitive dissonance that I have within myself. And I was just like, wow.
I've been getting into the laws, like the law of intention.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was the first one, but I've been getting more into the laws of like intention, and then like the theory that a lot of people have, as far as like people be thinking, if I just work harder, well, I put it like this: it's just as easy to make exponentially amount of money more. It takes the same activity and action to make extra $100 than it would take that make the actual extra $1 million or $100,000.
Yeah.
It's just our belief system. We be thinking that it takes so much different, or there's so much. It's like, no, it comes down to focus and the proper action, but it takes just as much energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've been on, okay, when I swing this, like me and my lady, we just made a vision board, and we put it all like a 2-part, a big one. Like she called it a vision, she called it a vision book. But because I put two of them joints together, and we got like one half is like the personal and the other half is like the business, and like, man, it's just, it's radical. Change is radical, man, because like stuff that's been happening lately, and it's been easy. Like the last time I really quit smoking blacks, it was hard, man. It was hard to sleep. I was getting real sleepy, and they say that it caused incontinence and all this other stuff. This time when I stopped, it was nothing.
Yeah,
it was nothing. It's like it's like, because this is the last thing, I'm gonna let it go, but somebody need to hear this. It's because we really like everything is in the mind, and we really like things that, like when you say you have an addiction or something like that, that's literally like in your, like, it's a thought that you have that makes you think you actually have an addiction, but you really don't.
Yeah,
it's like you formulate, and it's wild, man, how the mind, how you, once you reprogram yourself and you rewire yourself, like when you, it's almost like rewiring your circuitry,
bro.
You know, and how you think and how you analyze things. But you can like fix your own problems, like you can reprogram yourself, like, you know, bro. Like, you know, when the Schofield say he been hypnotizing, I kind of believe it a little bit, because you can.
Listen, when you really get into cognitive dissonance, the crazy thing about it is it's the rationalization that forms the bigger bubble, to whereas the two exist within the same space, and then it's rationalized. When you said the first time you quit smoking, right? Mm-hmm. You were first making an attempt to deal with the moral and ethical dissidence you have with smoking and wanting to be healthy. That was in the subconscious mind. That was that battle that was going on, to where you said, I'm gonna quit. I did some research, I saw some shit. Yeah, I want to quit. And then when you quit, it was difficult because the mind kept on trying to rationalize the dissidence that you were trying to overcome. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you went back to it, and now you quit again, because now the mind is much stronger, and whether you realized it or not, you you chose no longer to rationalize the smoking of the Black and Miles, because now that thing is the thing that says my moral dissidence about smoking Black and Miles and my ethical dissidence about smoking Black and Miles. I no longer try to make an excuse about it. When I quit, I'm done with this shit. And that's
Yep.
where you are right now. So it's like, when you really get into it, you'll find out how much cognitive dissonance really fucks with your own life and your everyday goings, to whereas now you're moving forward to rewiring. When you said people feel like they have an addiction, if you really look internally, it's a cognitive dissonance probably issue that you always rationalize
Yeah,
by using the very example of the thing you said you have. Well, everybody has some sort of addiction. You feel what I'm saying? Some people eat, some people smoke, some people do this. Everybody got some sort of addiction. So you just rationalize your cognitive, your moral dissident issue and your ethical dissident issue. You just rationalized it by the general public's talking point. It's just that fucking simple. That's how fucked up we really are. Like, this shit had me laughing at myself and everybody that I knew.
I be doing that too. I be laughing. I find myself laughing. I found myself laughing at myself more now, and even like, because I used to be real good at this, like watching my words and not saying certain things, like even like try. Like there's no trying to be successful. It's like you either you are or you're not. Like I'm gonna try to become a millionaire. It's like no, I'm gonna be a millionaire and I'm going to be successful, but I'm not trying. Like what is trying?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying. Like I'm making an attempt. Like did
Exactly.
I attempt over? You know what I'm saying? It's like no, I'm not trying no more. So a lot of stuff is either I'm doing it or I'm not. It's like, you know, in manifesting a lot of stuff, it's just I've been on a journey, bro. That's all I can say, man. And sometimes I need to step away because it's like it's not to say that a lot of this stuff is beneath you, but it's like when you got aspirations to do certain things, a lot of this stuff is minutia.
Yeah. And here's the funny part. I could bring my girl in here and I could be like, Wendy, what do I say about trying? To whereas when a person tell me, yo, I'm just, trying to do my thing out here. I'm just trying to, get this business going and stuff like that. I'm like, you ain't trying to do a fucking thing. Because either you're doing it or you're not. I don't know how the fuck you try to do it. Because I'm a person that knows how to do it, so I don't know what you mean by trying to start a business. Do you have your EIN number? Have you, got your LLCs? You feel what I'm saying? Have you started to establish your business credit? Do you have a business bank account? Nah, I ain't did none of that. Then you ain't trying to start no business. You trying to tell me how you trying to start a business, but you ain't starting no business. So some people get pissed off because I'm the OG that'll tell you not what you want to hear, but tell you what you need to hear. So you could have whatever opinions, people could feel how they want, but at the end of the day, if you're truly on the journey that you said you're on, what you will find out is even when you meet somebody new, the time you really have to just chit chat and have open conversations is far and few, because the only person you'll really have those conversations with is either your business partners, yourself, or your girl.
Exactly.
That's where the circle will kind of shrink down to, and everyone else is either an important acquaintance or a non-important acquaintance. And those of us on the outside of those circles, we just have to realize that and understand that if this is what this person is actually doing, then this is a a stark reality.
Yep. Yep, that's so true, man. I be thinking about it, like, man, I say, man, I gotta do better at trying to cultivate more, relationships or have different, and it's like, no, but it don't work. It don't work for what I'm trying to do. It's like, and I've been
Yeah.
down the road before. It's like, well, you could be more sociable. You could do this. You could do that. It's like, but no, like, it don't work. Like, it kind of don't
No,
work. Like,
it doesn't.
you find yourself wasting a lot of time. Like, you wait and investing energy and stuff. Just like, it don't really benefit nobody, because you can start something, but then you ain't gonna be around to finish it. Like, so it don't really matter. You're just wasting time. Like, so me, I just like you said, it's either new business ventures or people that's either going that way, or my lady. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People that think like me. You think, you know what I'm saying? We've been talking about business stuff, but like, if it ain't like that, it's like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
And
for
it's not
sure.
even personal. It's not
Yeah.
even personal. Like,
I really don't have time to just be chatting it up with you, just on some like real everyday shit. You'll call me and you'll always hear me busy or in the process of doing something. So you like me, I respect that. And now that I'm actually, running into circles with 7, 8-figure people, you feel what I'm saying? My time is even going to be more limited, because there's so many different moving pieces that are happening now. It's like, wow. And plus, I just don't want to be on any channels, to whereas it's just not conducive to it if someone outside of in that circle would happen to come across a video and see me, in some weird ass conversation with somebody. So I just rather be in places to whereas, all right, we're having intelligent conversations about intelligent topics. You know what I'm saying? And without the messy shit, without a lot of the stupid shit. And, I talk the same way on this panel as the way I talk to them. That's why they love me. I use the same amount of profanity. You know what I'm saying? And I could just tell people like this: if you find yourself in front of, an 8-figure person, don't be anything but yourself. If you're a person that uses profanity and things like that, just be yourself. They appreciate people who are themselves than anyone that will come around them acting like, oh God, you're this, you got so much money. So fucking what? I'm from Brooklyn. I listen to Big. Niggas bleed just like us. For real. So that's my attitude. And at the end of the day, Body, that's why land this plane, man. Great show, bro. Hit a lot of topics. People really got to see again, a different side, of how you and I sometimes talk when we on the phone, because this is how me and Body talk when we on the phone. It's mostly, it'll be about some boxing stuff, but it'll always turn into some, all right, so where are you at right now with getting things together as far as your business, or where am I at as far as getting things, together for this restaurant and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is the way we talk, bro. So I hope people enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is where you get that, like Body would say, this is where you get that fruit and veggie, not that Reggie. And see y'all on the next one, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. And again, salute, Body. Great show, bro.
all right, man. Salute, man. Enjoy your evening, bro.
For sure.
All right, man. Yeah, man. Like he said, man, this is fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. That fact-based content, not opinion-based. Like I said, man, the only difference between this channel and other channels is that I try to, as best as possible, to keep it a buck in real time. I'm not gonna sway you or try to like play politics and try to spare feelings that you shouldn't have, because if you're keeping it a buck, and people keeping it a buck with you, then what's the problem? You know, I don't know what people be thinking they're gonna win, what kind of awards they're gonna win. And like I said, at the end of the day, you realize that a lot of these fighters, they got their own lives. They got so much money and they got so many things going on. They are not worried about what we really think. They are really not worried about what we think. It's just us. I used to always say, man, can we at least let the fighters fight before we wind up basically splattering each other? Because it gets so toxic. And I'm like, man, it's like I'm trying so not trying. I'm not trying. I'm actually in a state where I don't want to feel like I'm bigger or above a lot of the stuff that be going on online. But when you realize how much time, if you try to quantify how much time we got left, we really don't got time to be playing the games and having the mindset that we have when we online. Why can't everybody just keep it a buck? We heard from Sean Porter. We heard from Sean Porter, man, and what he thought about what DHP and them was doing. We heard from Keyshawn and how it took him a second just to come to terms with the fact that he was tripping. A person like myself looking at it in real time was telling y'all this in real time. But I was called a hater. You know, it's like, no. It's like Sean, it's almost like he got to preaching. It's like I always say, man, some people just don't like the truth. And it's okay, because in life, it's a lot of people out here that don't like the truth. It's just some of us just like, the only thing that I can really do in my life is to center myself on things that are true. Right and exact as possible. Not perfect, but true. Sometimes the truth hurts. I can't base my life on how people feel. And I can't live and dwell in my emotions. So why would I, like, in the sport that I love and I want to see grow, and if I want to sit around and have a conversation, I'm not going to edit myself and not say this or not say that, especially when there's no ill will, there's no contrition in my heart, like there's no malice, no ill intention in anything that I'm doing, for real. I mean, unless it's at war and like I'm at peace in my life. Why go online and talk about stuff and be at war and at odds? It's like, it's a brutal sport. That should be enough. All the extra stuff that people doing, boxing don't need that. It's messy fans that feel like they need all the backline and the backstory, and they need more gossip and more drama and more. It's like, no, that's like, you get so far left, and you can actually see people being mentally sprained online, man. It's like, it's almost sad sometimes looking at some people online and what they got going on, man. It's like, we should come online to talk about stuff, to get answered the questions, to catch up, to get opinions, to kind of get away from the everyday, whatever it is we dealing with, you know, in our personal life. We should come online and talk about boxing because we love the sport. We want to see, you know, oh man, who gonna win on this? Who gonna do that? But it's getting so far left, and it's getting so far removed from the actual sport. It's ridiculous. You seen Tim Bradley just finally come around and let you know he been gaslighting this whole time. He knew all that stuff he was saying about Tank was some garbage, but he had to play the game. You know what I mean? People got gaslit for all them years by stuff that they were saying because of his level of influence and the fact that they respected Tim and his opinion. Well, how much do you respect Tim now? Knowing that he was lying to you all that time. You shouldn't have to go that long. Lying for what? You a millionaire. And people that were perpetuating online, why were they doing it? They need to make you go, Anyway, this Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie. That fact-based content, not opinion-based. Silence is consent is the channel, so we speak to things. You know, I'm proud of Keyshawn for manning up, being mature, saying he apologized. It ain't over for you, man. You ain't retired. You gonna be able to pay that mortgage. You're gonna be able to have some more babies. You're gonna be able to take care of them and make millions of dollars, bro. Just be yourself. Let this be a wake-up call, man. And don't get so drunk off yourself, and surround yourself with people that are gonna keep it a buck with you. Otherwise, man, you don't need to be around these people. You don't need to be letting these people influence you and tell you, oh, yeah. That's the definition of a yes man. Anyways, man, the ice age is coming. DHP and that whole thing is coming to a screeching halt by the assassin in boots. Man, these moves you making, brother. Y'all like suspect, homie. But we pulling for you, man. Thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to